Hello, guys. Sorry. Oh my goodness. I am brand new. Um, Hold on. Now I've got to switch over the little chat box. Give me 1 second. Well, geez, I didn't know I was gonna do that was all gonna happen. Okie doke. Good day. And I just have to give a shout out to Paperback Writer because he did this on the other. Oh, sorry, I gotta let my cat in. She's like getting on the roof somehow. I'm on the second floor. I don't know how they're getting. I mean, they're cats, but Paperback Writer sent a $50 super chat on the other now defunct live stream, which I should probably take a quick second and take down so there's no mass confusion.
Everyone can be seated.
Confusion of my own
Good morning, members of the
doing.
jury.
I am so sorry.
We are going to resume with
Aw,
the state's
my
case
first
once
cat
again
ever
this
was a little
morning.
black cat named
Everyone does
Blackie. And
have
thank
their
you so
notepads
much.
and
I
pens
can't
in their
even
seats.
get over how generous that is. I was
And for the
absolutely
record,
blown
the
away to
jurors
see
have
that.
responded in
Okay.
the affirmative. Ms. Kappelman,
really
you may
quick.
call
Sorry,
your next
guys.
witness.
State calls Jeff Lacasse.
He has sharp little claws. All right, I need to get rid of this. How do I delete it? Private. Oh, can I delete? Okay, that should be gone now.
Please raise your right hand, sir.
You know, here I am thinking
Do
I'm
you
all
swear or affirm
prepared.
the testimony you're
and
about to
I
give
am
will
not.
be the truth?
Yes.
You may take your seat.
Jared,
You may inquire when you're ready.
I
sir.
completely agree. I was dying. I was absolutely dying. I couldn't hear who they called as witness, and then they said they couldn't find her. It's
Sir,
got
please
to
introduce
be
yourself
June.
and spell your name.
She
I'm
was
Jeffrey
15
Lacasse.
minutes
Pardon me.
late. I literally put on the
J-E-F-F-R-E-Y
live stream and listened to it at
LACASSE.
like 2.5 times
Employee.
speed.
I'm an
So I
associate
could,
professor at Florida State University.
Get
How long
everything
have you
caught
been
up,
at FSU?
and
Since
yeah, I
2013,
think I've
so
got
11
all
years
of
now, 12
my.
years now.
Oh, sorry, was that playing in the background the whole time? I should probably put my headphones on. Oh my gosh! All right. Yes, I know. And Judge Everett is such a sweet little creature. I love him so much. Of course, she's late. Yes, June will testify when she is ready. She has to be fashionably late. She wants everybody to see her whole deal, and she looked absolutely lovely. June comes ready, her hair, the outfit, the purse, the teeth, she comes ready. She absolutely does. I stand for June so incredibly hard. I love June to absolute death. Hi, Watercolor. I cannot wait to hear, and I didn't even finish your whole name. Watercolor by McCraw. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Please. I know, I need to figure out how to do that. Yes, I'm sorry. She is everything. And I was finding some I found some pictures of her from when she was younger because everybody's always like obviously the first thing they think is Charlie. Now her teeth have been like that. And she's lovely. She is lovely. I think she's a lovely person. I was a little disappointed in her testimony today because she was a little wishy-washy. I felt like, but I also have her we're going to listen to parts of her live stream. Also, Paperback Writer says he's going to go buy a house in Florida. Good. Use June as your realtor. The purse, the teeth. Because remember when she wanted to show Charlie her body at Charlie's trial? I love June to death. That was that was absolutely everything. That was my favorite part of the trial today. Lisa MB says June is fabulous. She absolutely gives no fucks, none to be given at all. Not a one, not a one. I was crying over that. Okay, so I went through um I got through almost everything with the exception of Corbett. I feel like a lot of the testimony that we heard was pretty similar to what we've heard before. Um, I wasn't, you know, super blown away, and that's good because honestly, my heart needed a rest after yesterday because it was just the scandal. And we're going to also touch back on Rob from yesterday. Um, I'm probably let me go ahead. All right, we'll start this by and I might be playing these clips a little bit fast too. I'll probably put them on like 1.25 speed just so we can kind of zoom through this um, a little bit. But I wanted to go and play the 2 videos that I did. I released one late last night, and then I released one this morning, and they're, on Wendy, and her completely new testimony. It's no surprise to anybody, but it was insane. So, everything I've been trying to, I've been trying to pop in and watch a couple lives here and there because I mean, especially after last night, my mind was just so absolutely blown um, by Rob mostly, but really by Wendy too. And uh, the most heavily talked about topic was her saying, "Oh yeah, they told me he was shot in the car," which didn't happen, and I have receipts, but what I was most blown away by was the fact that she practically confessed to doing this, or at least admitted partially her involvement in this, according to me, according to what I heard. So, uh, what's her face? Jackie Fulford says to her, "You stated on direct that anybody responsible for this should be held accountable, right?" And Wendy says, "Yes." She says, "That includes you, doesn't it?" And Wendy says, "Anyone, anyone that was involved," which is a bonkers thing to say for Wendy. The I watercolor says, "I love June too. She's golden, but she just got messed up with Poppy Chulu." I know. And I think she is still a little bit brokenhearted. I feel like she still feels like she owes him some stuff. I'm she still has so if you go to her Facebook, she still has all the pictures up of the 2 of them. All the pictures. She's also my number 1 favorite character in this insane story. Although I particularly loved Ryan Fitzpatrick's cross-examination by Daddy Rashbaum on Charlie's trial, and I had that pulled up. We wanted I say we all wanted to watch it today. I wanted to watch it today and show it to everybody. I'll probably play that also when we get to Ryan's side of things. Jared says the bombshell on Wendy's text to Rob how Jeff has never met the parents is a secret corroborated by Jeff that Wendy is a liar and proves that Wendy is part of the conspiracy. I know. I fucking know. I heard Rob say that. Okay, so I've always been kind of on the fence about whether or not Jeff was actually set up for this, or that like if Wendy actually wanted to set him up for this until I heard Rob yesterday. And then I was like, holy shit. I could not even believe that. Yes, they have so much good evidence on Wendy just from this trial, and this is just what they're showing us. And we are only on day 3. We have not heard half of anything still. Shadrach and Ryan, yes, amazing. And I think so now. I think so now, Jared. I was on the fence about it before, but now I am pretty certain now. Okay, so let's go ahead and set and I didn't realize this until earlier. We're watching the trial replay, and I'm wondering why in the hell is my quality so absolutely horrific on this, and I didn't realize it was, like, set to auto and putting us at 360. It was absolutely insane. Paperback writer says she's so devious, she doesn't realize that there are folks out here every bit her match. More, more than every bit her match. She is outmatched for certain. I mean, I just can't. I can't. Um, Matt Mello says, "Wendy definitely set up Jeff. Why ask him about his trip details when she kind of basically broke up with him on the Monday before?" Yeah. Why else? And, like, it's not like Wendy is, like, this super caring person that's just, like that's just the type of person she is. Like, of course she would ask what he was doing. Of course she would still care about Jeff. No, she is so self-absorbed. She would never, ever, ever care. Yes, Stephen Krim. Also me. Same, the same. June accepted my friend request on Instagram. It was a big day for me. Also me, the same. And I also, like, wrote her a little love letter saying how proud I was of her, and I'm glad that she is doing well, and how sad I was that she got all mixed up in, this whole thing with Charlie, and she actually wrote me back too. Hold on, let me pull up my Instagram. I'm such an old lady. I'm never on my Instagram. I posted my first well, I had an Instagram when I was doing, like, makeup YouTube, but I never do anything now. I don't even know how to get into the messages. That's how elderly I am. Okay. Um, yeah, this is my little oh, I don't know which way. This is my little combo with June. She was so sweet and gracious to even speak to me. I said, "Hi, June. I just wanted to reach out to you because it makes me so happy to see you doing so well. You're such a beautiful person inside and out. My heart truly broke for you when you were in the middle of Charlie's chaos. I know it's been a long time since then, but obviously this case is still unfortunately ongoing. And I was listening to your police interview online, and my heart really went out to you. I was so touched by how regretful and heartfelt your words were. I could tell that you truly adored Charlie, and I felt your pain in feeling that he had moved on and up, in quotes, with another woman after the plans that you two had clearly made to be with each other. I am so thankful that you were spared and shown the pathway to what looks like a truly beautiful and joyful life. You seem like such an amazing and strong woman, and I know I'm not anyone to you, but it truly makes my heart happy, and I'm so proud of the life that you have been able to create for yourself. And I love your puppy dog so much." Because you remember when she was on and she said this on the stand too. She's like, "He has a girlfriend and a baby and a dog." And she was, like, heartbroken by it, and it broke my heart. But now she has, like, this cute little Pomeranian, and she bought it, like, the little kid cars, the electric kid cars? She bought the dog, like, in a little kid car Bentley, and I died. I said, "I love your pupper so much. I hope I haven't crossed the line or made you uncomfortable sending this." I said, "But you were on my heart, and I wanted to let you know that. Much love, Jackie." And she says, "Thank you so much for your kind words. Yes, unfortunately, the case is still going on, but I've been trying to make the best of life without him." And I said, "Well, you're doing an amazing job, and you deserve the very best, June. I'm so glad you are where you are." And she said, "Thank you." So I was super excited about that as well. Jared says, "All of Wendy's actions in June and July of 2014 prove she was deep on this. Deep." I don't wanna go into too much about, we'll watch it as we watch it, but I was shook by a lot. Uh, Paperback writer says, "Steven, buy a house in Florida." Steven says, "Got one." Jared says, "She texted her brother Rob out of nowhere an entire lie about her boyfriend. The only explanation is that it relates to the murder." 100%. Oh my God, Commissary Tuna, I could not love your name more. But then the car. I know. I had no idea how incredibly close the cars were. And I read this today during my live if you're watching, but I also I got all the, police reports from the Tallahassee Police Department, and in there, it says they switched out the car in June from a blue one to a silver one. You can't even make this shit up. You can't even make this shit up. This is the killers. Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera, which are the same person if you're Jackie Fulford. Howdy, Gila. You should have called June second day and see if she answered. I know, I could probably find her cell pretty easy, but I don't wanna be that much of a stalker. LP Travels and other things says, "Good morning, my time. Commissary Tuna, prosecution has unseen WhatsApp dirt on Wendy 1,000%. I have been saying this, I have been saying this, I have been saying this. This is in my very first Wendy is the Worst, my 7-part series. This is in the first video. I said, there's no way that Georgia would waste the court's time in almost each and every trial if she did not have literally, like, does anybody remember like Catch a Predator? To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen, and he would walk out just with his stack of papers with the chat log and then start just reading it out to them. That's what I think of every single time. Jared says, even Donna thought June looked gorgeous during Charlie's trial. That was one of my favorite jail combos. Oh, it was so funny. And Paperback Writer says, yes, Charlie did encourage her to be a realtor. See, everything happens for a reason, guys. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah, when he kicked her out the door, he was such an asshole to her. I have a lot of their conversations in my Adelson's in the Attic video, which I don't show very much of it. I do want to watch a small part of it about Jeff, but it's kind of sad. Jared says, a Pomeranian and a dog Bentley is so June. I love June. I love June as well. Matt Mello also, great point. Also, who would know what Jeff's car looked like so they could rent a car to look like it as much as possible? Everybody knows it's Wendy, of course. Thank you. Thank you, Sherry, for gifting some memberships. You are so, so, so sweet. I really appreciate that. And every time, okay, you don't have to become a member. I'm not forcing anybody to do anything. But if you want to, go to my channel, and where it would say subscribe, there will be a little click that says join, or a little button that says join. And every time you get memberships, I am able to add more emojis, which I added some new ones today. I just wish they were bigger. I wish they were bigger. So if you're a membership or a new membership, you can go down to the emojis. The first 4, like the little smiley face ones, I drew myself. Well, of course I created them all, but Christine's a sweet message. Lisa MB says, Stephen Kern, that was so nice of you. So many people were criticizing her on other live feeds. I had to tune out. I'm glad she made your day. I think June is so sweet. I think that I think she's just kind of a socially nervous person. I don't fault her for that. I feel like we have seen her in the absolute like worst part of her life, and I don't fault her for anything. I think she's amazing. I think she is involved in something that she never wanted to be involved in. I think Charlie bamboozled her. He tricked her. He said, we're going to have a life together. And then he lied. He does lies. Sherry D says, I voted for a PM recap. Thought I would make it outside shortly after your stream. I flopped on that, so I came inside to explain myself. Thank you. All right. Christine says, I haven't watched this part yet. I had this stupid thing called work. All right. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and start this up. So this is, yeah, Jill, it does seem like that's the defense's theory, anybody but Donna. Which, great. Point the finger at Wendy more, because I, for one, am here for it. Okay, so this is just this is a quick little video. It's just kind of a general back and forth between the questions that, just general questions that Georgia asked before, and now she's asked again. And of course, Wendy has different stories about it. Okay.
When was the last time you talked to your mom? Did you talk to her today, yesterday?
I talked to her yesterday.
When was the last time you spoke to your mother, Donna Adelson, as we sit here today?
November of 2023.
Okay, and I would just like to, and I promise I'm not going to try to interrupt this too many times, but I would just like to point out the fact that not only does she have different answers like that, and that's nothing new, but notice how different her demeanor is. And she doesn't have this entitled, the state isn't going to decide to arrest me bullshit that she freaking has done for all these other trials. She doesn't feel untouchable anymore. And you can feel it in the depths of her soul. She didn't give a fuck about Charlie. She said, Charlie's a loose cannon. He runs his mouth. Whatever. Who cares? He's going to go. But there's nothing on me and my mom. Me and my mom's hands are clean. She thought there was nothing on her. She thought that nobody could find anything. And now look at where we are. And she is shitting her pants. She knows that she is in trouble. She's in trouble. She's in quicksand. She is sinking. She is not getting out.
In her emails, and we referenced one of them while you've been here on the stand, she talks about you giving performances and playing roles. Did you discuss anything about what you would do here today in court with your mother?
No.
Okay. And so she hasn't given you any information or advice about how to testify in court, has
No,
she?
ma'am. No.
What about, you did offer testimony in November of 2023 as well, right, on a related case?
Yes.
Okay,
October.
And did your mom, when you spoke to her in November of 2023, offer you any advice or thoughts about how you should act or behave or what you should say in court?
Yes.
She did.
She did.
And what was that?
I can't tell you I remember exactly, but she was hoping I would be supportive of my brother.
Okay. And do you know what her thoughts were afterwards?
I do.
Okay. And what were they?
She was devastated.
She didn't feel you were supportive.
No.
Do you remember her imploring you to put on a good act?
I do.
Did your mom, I don't know, do you have any acting training?
No.
There's so little. I mean, they could, like, I want them to have, if it's gonna have to be memories, I want them to be good. Because their last memory would have been taking them to school this morning. This morning.
And the Oscar goes to
Wendy Adelson.
Do you know why your mom would Google how to teach an actress emotion?
I don't know.
Did she ever share with you or forward you any tips on how to bring emotion or fake emotion?
Not that I remember of any kind.
I know it's part of it, but do you know anybody that would have a beef against your ex-husband?
But not anyone who would do something like this.
Anybody that he owes money to?
No, he has money to me.
He owes money to you?
But not me.
Okay, all right.
Oh my god, what's like this? I know a lot of people just really love him, but I don't know anyone who would do something like this.
Well, we're still trying to determine, what happened and how it happened.
But he wouldn't do this to himself.
Okay.
He was a very positive person.
Okay.
I can't believe this is happening.
I know. Okay. You're being very helpful, okay? I know it's hard.
I'm trying, I just
you're doing
can't
fine.
believe what's happening.
You're doing fine. I know it's all shocking. It's coming to you all at once. Okay?
I don't know who would do this.
Okay. No indication at this time that that's a threat. Okay? But the boys are going to stay with you. You're not going back over to Trescott. Okay?
But I don't live there anymore.
I know you don't.
They know. Did you tell them?
No, they haven't known.
Oh god. His parents are going to be devastated.
I think it's safe to assume she did not get those tips.
Were you involved in any way in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
Absolutely not.
Were you in any way involved in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
No.
Did you know what was going to happen, but maybe not know the details?
I knew nothing.
Did you maybe know it was going to happen but not know the details?
I did not know it was going to happen, and I did not know any details.
Did you provide any information, even unknowingly in hindsight, that you think could have been used to assist the murderers?
I don't think so. I didn't provide any information.
Do you know who all was involved in the murder?
Well, I learned
What an absolutely bizarre thing to say. She doesn't think so. She doesn't think so. She didn't provide any information. You either know or you don't. Like, her wishy-washy shit is insane. And it was absolutely masterful to put her and Rob back to back on the stand, because Rob's testimony just made her even that much more a not incredible witness. William Thurlow says, "What is up with Wendy's eyebrows? Look so different from last time. She has had way too much Botox." She read all of everybody's comments on, it wasn't Charlie's trial, but it was Katie's retrial, when she had gotten Botox everywhere, but like right up here. So she had like 3 forehead wrinkles right here below her hairline. So she read all that, even though she doesn't look at the minutia to help her sleep at night. She does, and she does. There's actually a side-by-side. I have a side-by-side. Hold on, let me pull it up on my phone because it's the thumbnail for this. Oh my God, I take so many. There's so much crap on my phone. My husband and my are like photos are linked, and literally he's like, "Babe, I can't do this anymore." I'm like, "You are really, really missing out." Okay, I'll play this while I look for the thumbnail.
today, but at the time, no.
Okay.
What information do you have regarding your mother's involvement in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
I don't have information.
Boy. All right.
Oh boy.
Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired them, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid them.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want them held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Well, let me ask you, if you found out that this was someone that you personally know, would that change your mind about what should happen to that person
About what should happen to that person?
for prosecution purposes?
No.
Is there any way that you would think
if
somebody
tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
regardless of who it is?
I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother, but I don't think it was my family. Anyone outside my immediate family, that's a tough one.
Okay.
But I don't think my immediate family did this. So
Okay.
if it's anybody else, yeah.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I
Different
said.
now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
Oh,
You
then
testified
my-
on direct
wow.
that anybody in your family that had anything to do with it should be held responsible. Isn't that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And that includes you, doesn't it?
Anyone who's responsible.
You testified on direct that anybody in your family that had anything to do with it should be held responsible. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And that includes you, doesn't it?
Anyone who's responsible.
And that includes you, doesn't it?
Anyone who's responsible.
And that includes you, doesn't it?
Anyone who's responsible.
Okay, I turned myself up a little bit. I just happened to watch back one of my live streams the other day, and it sounded like I was screaming. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the rewatch of today. We're going to obviously start with Jeff. I have a few things to interject. I have notes on all, and it's so crazy because it's like an 8.5 hour day, and then you go in and scroll through just the testimony, and you're like, oh, this is like 2 hours. 2 hours long total. Kelly Malma, I agree. It's a crime that she isn't in prison yet. I agree. Watercolor says all of this to say how diabolical is it that Wendy planned this from the time Jane the petter introduced them. It's awful. And, you know, Wendy took this little like walkie walk with Jane the day before Dan was killed, probably to set in motion, to like set the trap of her suggesting Jeff. I mean, there's a reason why she did this, and there's a reason why Jane came in. And then Wendy even says to the victim advocate, "Oh, I don't know why I didn't think of Jeff. Jane did. Yeah, I guess he's a good suspect. I thought of my family." Yeah, you thought of your family because that's who did it. You and your family. Like, come on, please. Okay. So the first part that I have on Jeff is the grandmother motion, which Donna tries to say that she, the whole thing is that, oh, she didn't know about it, blah, 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 blah. A total load of crap. Okay.
After the relocation had been denied, is that right?
Yeah, that would have been last week of September, so a couple months after it was fresh then, yeah.
Okay, and were you specifically familiar during that time with the litigation seeking to limit Donna Adelson's exposure to the kids, or to have her be supervised in the presence of the kids, because Dan was alleging that she had made disparaging remarks about him to the children?
Yes, I was aware of that.
How did you become aware of that?
Oh, multiple ways. Wendy talking about it. And it's hard to remember which exact emails and motions I was forwarded, but definitely Wendy's talking about it for sure, and perhaps I was sent court materials.
Okay, were you also shown things in her presence?
Yes.
All right, and if you know, did Wendy take that particular filing seriously? Was she upset about that or worried about that?
Yes, every time there was a motion, they took it very seriously, and I reported to the police that it was disruptive on the relationship, because every time something was filed, dates would get canceled, Wendy would be in a mood, Wendy would be upset. So
when you say they took it seriously, who are you referencing?
the entire family, but Wendy was the person I was having contact with. But it was known to me that the whole family was upset.
Okay, and how do you deduce that it's a they and not just a Wendy? Is she in communication with the family? Is she relaying that to you? How do you know that?
For multiple...
Speculation and opinion.
Overruled. He may testify as to his personal knowledge. You're not to repeat, however, what anyone said out of court, Mr. McCose.
Sure. So conversations with Wendy, which were consistent, and also observing the family dynamic, which was, described to police as a family without boundaries, that sort of not having just a shared family life than your own.
Stayed as to opinion.
All right, so.
Okay, I have a little clip that I wanted to play with that family without boundaries, but I want to really quick read out Watercolor by McGraw's comments, because I do agree with all of this, and I have already been thinking this. I feel like Jeff was way under the type of guy that Wendy would normally date, and this is what Watercolor by McGraw has to say. She says, okay, 1, Wendy would never date anybody like Jeff. First, and no disrespect at all, but he does have a rather pronounced speech impediment, and Wendy would never. 100% agree. She says he has a YouTube channel, which I didn't even know. She says, second, he is very highly educated and so incredibly empathic, which is amazing, and she would 100% date Jeff alone for this if she were single. But for Wendy, cool is all that matters to her, never twitchy like Jeff. I 100% agree. I do not feel like Jeff was her type at all. I feel like it was 100% just to set him up like this. And at the time, he had zero money to his name, which will never work for one moment for Wendy. However, he did make a great babysitter for her while she waited to pin the murder on him. I know. I mean, he probably would have, given her everything she wanted. And it seems like he did anyway. He says, I believe it's during his second interview, but he said something like, basically, he was always doing for Wendy. He says, and normally, you would have a girlfriend, you would be sick or something. They would offer to bring you soup. He's like, Wendy didn't ever do any of that. It's like, no, because she is the most self-centered, jackass you'll ever meet. And she says all this to say how diabolical is it that Wendy planned this from the time that Jane introduced them. Agreed. I mean, I feel like this was in motion for so long. And if you haven't heard, there is, Isom went and interviewed a guy named Jason McNair in jail. This guy called the state's attorney's office and said, "Hey, I have some information that you might want to know." And what he told them was that Sigfredo made toilet wine one night, basically like putting fruit and water in the toilet until it ferments and becomes alcohol. He made toilet wine one night and started talking. And even Luis, and I have this all in a video, it's like put together, obviously better than I'll probably say it right now. But Luis even said, like, once Sigfredo starts to drink, he starts to talk. So Sigfredo apparently tells not only Jason McNair, but this other guy, and his first name fails me, but his last name's Atteridge. And he tells them Donna Adelson, the guy knew her by name. Donna Adelson had paid other hitmen $50,000 to kill Jeff before Sigfredo and Luis. Before Sigfredo and Luis. But the idiot prepays them the money. Which, why in that literal hell are you going to prepay hitmen? And so, I'm sure you can guess, the hitmen decided, hey, we have $50,000 in our pocket. How about we just don't commit the murder and take this money and run? What is she going to do? Call the cops on us? Which I'm honestly surprised she didn't. I'm surprised she didn't put a Better Business Bureau complaint in that these hitmen were not good. I'm surprised, and I don't know, maybe we'll hear from Georgia that, maybe we'll hear this, that Donna has a Google search of hitmen near me, because that feels like the type of person that she is. And I am very surprised also that she didn't call the police up and was like, I want to report a crime. I gave $50,000. These guys, they said they were going to do a service for me, and they just took my money and ran. And the cops are like, well, what were they supposed to do for you? Roofing, siding, pressure wash your sidewalk? No, they were gonna kill my ex son-in-law, and they did it. They just took my money. They're thieves. They're thieves. Get them. I'm surprised that we didn't hear that from Donna, and we still might. Her complaining to Wendy in an email that these guys took her money and ran. I would not be surprised. Welcome, Matt. Thank you for becoming a member. Okay. So this is in where did I put this? Oh, I probably didn't. Oh, here it is. All right. So this is from what Jeff just said about the family being, enmeshed, being really just oddly like squished into each other. And this is also what he said in his police interview about that.
Kind of sociopathic, like, this is strange that you just met me. He's telling me this. It was really, really weird. The family is important that you know this, actually, man. The family is so unhealthily enmeshed, so completely enmeshed, that Wendy is not really an adult. When she drives to South Florida, every single time those two parents drive up here and drive with her down. They don't trust her to drive from Tallahassee to Miami. It's not a normal family. It's not like she's a 35-year-old that has two kids and come down and see us. It's complete enmeshment. It's a matter of they've infantilized her. She's considered the baby still. She's 35 years old. Charlie protects her. This guy's so inappropriate. We're sitting, please don't write this down.
I love that line from Jeff when he says, please don't write this down. As if he's not being recorded. It's crazy. Okay, so the next part that I want to play from Jeff's testimony is, and they had him strike it, but it doesn't matter because we heard it and the jury heard it, and you can't unring a bell. So as much as you want them to unhear this, and this is crazy for me, and I didn't have enough time to find the corresponding phone call between Donna and Charlie to show you guys, but I'll tell you about it after this little snippet. This is him talking about the autobiographical memory of the children, which is insane.
It's just a place where you would find that criminal element.
I want to ask you about an incident involving, I think the context is assessing Wendy's oldest child for gifted placement. Do you
Yes.
know where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, could you tell the jury, please?
Wendy was looking to get her older son tested to see if he was gifted to get him placed in school. This is spring 2014. And I was trying to put her in touch with some people that could do that. And we were talking about that, and she asked me when children develop autobiographical memory.
Is your training or profession such that you have some knowledge that you could offer on that topic?
Your Honor, he's not disclosed as an expert.
And you'll need to establish a foundation as to why this testimony could be given by this individual, Ms. Government.
I'm not offering it for its truth, Judge. It goes to Ms. Adelson's state of mind and motive.
Very well. As to that purpose, I will permit it. However, as to that limited issue only, can this be considered by the jury?
So, I mean, you're not an expert on children's autobiographical memories, are you?
Not really. That's in some of the textbooks I teach out of, but I think I can keep it out of the scientific realm and explain it commonsensically, which is how I responded to Wendy. Children at age 2 have amnesia, which most parents probably realize. Between 3 and 4, kids start to develop the ability to retain memories.
Jeff, this is expert testimony.
As to a specific thing that goes to the state.
Okay, so that's pretty much all that they let him say in this whole thing, because then, you know, they had to whine and cry about it. Okay. So that's interesting. And not only that, but there is a phone call between Charlie and Donna. This is the post-conviction jail calls. And there's just so many. It's literally like 25 hours. I just didn't have time in like the hour between putting my little bean to bed and getting on. But I will more than likely put this in a short video at the very least. But Harvey first is talking to Bree, the mother of his then 5-year-old Ronan. I think it's Ronan or Roman. I'm sorry. Things fail me. It's late at night. Okay. So he's talking to her and he's like, "Hey buddy, yeah, daddy misses you. I'll be home soon. Like, I can't wait to see you." They're just pretending like Charlie's just like nothing's wrong. Charlie's coming back. Like, what in the literal fucking hell? This kid is 5 years old. Like, he's not a 6-month-old. The kid knows what's going on. He's not an idiot. So then Charlie's talking to Donna and he's like, "Yeah, you know, I haven't told my son anything." And she's like, "You shouldn't. He doesn't know the difference anyway. Like, what's he gonna know? He'll never remember this." Like, it's as if 5-year-olds are too, like, not cognitively developed enough to know that you're gone. Like, he's gonna be gone forever. Like, forever. He will never see his son again. And you're really like, when are you gonna plan on telling him? "Oh yeah, remember like 10 years from now? Oh hey, remember when your dad said like he's gonna go to the store for some milk, BRB, and then he just never came back ever in the history of the land?" Like, I can't. And when I heard that, the second that I heard that, I said, this is why they killed Dan when they did. Because Donna said, "Oh, the kids will be too young. They'll never even remember. It's perfect. They'll pretty much, you know, they'll just bounce back. Kids are like basically, you know, rubber bands, plastic bags, whatever." She thinks that they're just like these empty vessels that, I mean, I have a 2.5-year-old and she is super, you know, cognizant of everything that is going on. And she definitely understands when people are away. And I mean, it's just crazy. It's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. Okay. So here he talks about the canceled trip, and then he goes into the day before Wendy's birthday when they were supposed to have this date, and she answers the door like shit-faced or something.
Adelson Actually, strike that. I'm going to move on to the coffee shop meeting. Familiar with that?
The June 4th coffee shop?
Yes, sir. June 4th, 2014. Did you have plans prior to that meeting to travel with Wendy Adelson over the time frame in which Dan Markel was ultimately killed?
Yeah, that's right. And on June 4th, I'd planned to see Wendy and the kids at her house that night. Middle of the day, she called me to sort of an impromptu meeting at Red Eye over on Thomasville, and she abruptly canceled our trip for reasons that didn't make much sense.
When was the trip scheduled to happen?
The 11th to the 17th.
All right, so you would have returned home actually the day before the murder
Correct.
occurred. Okay. And did she express concern about not being home in time to pick up the children?
Yeah, the reason she canceled the trip was I'm worried we're going to get
Objection to hearsay?
Staying on the stairs and accepting.
Sit down.
Goes to motive, Judge.
Overruled.
Don't care if they go on a trip or not. All right, sir, so the reason for not going on...
When Georgia says, I don't care if they're going on a trip or not, the little side comments that she says are absolute
on the
gold.
trip?
The reason for not going on the trip was, well, it was tied up on a couple of things. First of all the stuff going on with Danny was a constant refrain. But given the stuff going on with Danny, she was concerned that she might not be back in time, even though our flight was to land the day before. And it wasn't, it's so odd to me. It wasn't winter. We're going through it. It's like LA to Atlanta to Tallahassee, leaving in the morning, and I didn't see any real reason why that would be a problem.
She would have needed to pick up the kids on July 18th, right?
Yes, she knew that then. Their schedules were planned out for like months.
Okay, so you would have
Insane.
returned on the 17th, and she would have been picking up her children from preschool on the 18th.
Yeah, I think 5 p.m. on the 18th, which is why, I mean, I didn't object. I just said, okay, I didn't make a thing out of it, but it didn't make any sense.
And that, just for clarification, that conversation occurred on June 4th.
It did.
Okay, when was the next time you saw her after that coffee shop meeting?
Yeah, so that was mid-afternoon, and in the evening, I had plans to go see her and spend time with her and the kids. And then she had contacted me that she wasn't feeling well and I should like rush over there, essentially. She had a stomach problem, so I got there as quickly as I could.
All right, so did you go to her residence that evening?
I did.
And what happened when you got there?
Well, on the way there, I remember contacting her and asking her, do you want me to stop and get some stomach medicine or something like that? And didn't. I believe she told me not to. Once I got there, she hemmed and hawed a little bit, and then eventually I left. Because she was a complete anxious wreck. She didn't have the flu. She didn't have food poisoning. She was just a nervous, anxious wreck, and it was affecting her stomach. So after a little while, I drove to a nearby convenience store to go get her Pepto-Bismol, which I recall because I have a credit card receipt from this random convenience store a few miles from her house.
All right, so she was a nervous wreck that night, and did she tell you what the problem was or not?
No, there was no discernible. I couldn't figure it out. She didn't tell me.
Okay. All right. Was there a time when you were over at Ms. Adelson's residence and you observed that her TV was broken?
Yes.
Okay, tell me.
Okay. So, obviously, her making a big deal out of having to be home to be able to pick up the boys on that specific date is obviously scandalous. I've been saying this since day one. I literally made an 11-hour series on why Wendy was guilty as fuck. And if you haven't watched it, I'm biased, but it's worth a watch. Yeah, but in his redacted or unredacted police interview is absolutely insane. But he says to Ison, like, I felt like there were drum beats, like something was coming. Like, I mean, it was just insane. Bad Doctor's Wife, You Love My Sweater. It's from what's it called? Bear something. Barefoot Dreams. It's like the coziest thing. It's not even a sweater. It's just like this long thing with pockets, and it's like a shawl. And I love it. I live for it. Okay. So yes, LP Travels. That's what I said too. Wendy had to drive by the crime scene to make sure that they weren't screwing her over. Also, when Louise said, "Oh, she was there the day before too. Like we saw her. We drove right up. She was there with the boys." And I go, I'll probably just play this clip for you because it's just like it's insane. It's probably just a 5 or so minute clip, but it's she very well could have been there. And not only that, but during the call detail records, because Luis says, we saw her there, Sigfredo immediately recognized her, and he would have because Katie had a picture of her, and I feel like Wendy is pretty recognizable. But he recognized her right away, and Luis says she got on the phone, like as they were in their car looking at her. So what is missing from the call detail record is basically all of Wendy's Thursday call detail records, and she could have 100% been there for this. Okay, Doris asked a question. She says, could it be the winning is even more important than those boys winning against Dan? What are my thoughts? 100%. One of my videos in my Wendy series is called Collateral Damage, and I go into the fact that and as sad as it is, and for me as a mother, it's so hard to even be able to think this way and wrap your mind around it, but not that I think that the boys were specifically also supposed to be harmed, but I don't think there were any precautionary measures to keep them from getting hurt. Here she is, she's sending a hit. So the hitman went up twice. Both times, they were on a week-on, week-off schedule in the summer. Both times the hitmen were up there, it was a Danny week, as Wendy calls it. So they were with Dan both times that the hitmen were up there. Obviously, I've never killed anybody. I've never planned on killing anybody. But if I was going to kill my ex-husband, do you know where my kids wouldn't be? Anywhere near his house. Like, what in the hell? If you're sending up two random guys, if there's two random guys that are okay with just killing your random, your ex-husband who they have no idea, they're willing to travel, I think it's like a 10-hour drive, 8 or 10 hours from Miami to Tallahassee. She has no idea who these guys are. She has no idea what they're capable. And I go into kind of like the different ways they could have been harmed. I mean, one, it would have been harmful enough just to watch their dad be shot in front of them, which with Rob's testimony, Donna saying, oh yeah, they walked up to the door and they said, hey, are you Dan Markell? And they shot him in the face. It was crazy. And he's like, how do you even know this information? Who would have this information other than the killers? Hashtag, how do you know this? Where are you? Who are you? Where are you coming from? But they could have shot him while he was in the car. The kids could have obviously gotten shot. They could have shot him. He could have rolled into traffic. He could have gotten into a car accident. And to think that hitmen would give any fucks about your kids, thank God Luis was there, because Luis says over and over, both in his proffer that he gave, that's a taped proffer that he gave to the police, and also to Georgia in his testimony, I'm not going to kill anybody in front of their kids. Fucking Sigfredo was high on cocaine and drunk the whole frickin' time. Do you think, even if he didn't want to kill somebody in front of his kids, I don't think he had, he wasn't with it. He wasn't going to be there being like, oh yeah, this is probably not the best idea ever that we just go, kill these kids right in front of their dad, or potentially kill the kids also. I mean, it's just insane. Why you would risk your children like that. It's just too sloppy to have happened twice. And I don't think for a second that Wendy gave a shit about those kids, as unfortunate as it is to say. And it breaks my heart to even say it, because I know there's potential for the boys seeing this video at some point. But once they got to Miami, every single call that Donna has with Charlie, all the bump wiretaps, the kids are in the background. She even says in one of the calls, I have 2 little boys. The damage deposit on this condo is going to be too high because they're going to destroy stuff. Wendy was never even with those kids. The kids were a pawn. They were a bargaining chip. They were there with the express purpose to be able to get what Wendy wanted out of Dan. I mean, here they're talking about, let's dress him up in Nazi costumes and Nazi uniforms. Let's dress them up as Hitler Youth. Let's put them in Christian school. Let's baptize them Catholic. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And they're really going for the very heart. What's going to hurt Dan the most? What's the two most important things to Dan? His children and his religion. And in one fell swoop, they're managing to try to fuck over both of those things. You know, two birds with one stone, as they would say. It's absolute insanity.
Rob Adelson, but it concerns you.
Yes.
Is there anything factually incorrect in what Wendy Adelson is stating in that text message?
Well, when she says I haven't told mom and dad about me, I met them multiple times. It's impossible that they didn't know we were dating. For example, I was aware that Donna wasn't thrilled that I wasn't Jewish, you know. So that doesn't add it. This doesn't make sense to me in terms of like seeing me for 6 or 7 months.
So in that text message, she's saying, you know, that you're a
6 to 7 months they had been together when she sends this text to Rob. 6 to 7 months. And she tells Rob, oh, it's a secret. Don't tell mom or dad. It's a secret. Which just in her saying that, there's going to be some sort of scandal attached to this about like, why don't you want them to know? Is he, you know, does he not live up to the standards? Is he like a bad boy? You know, it's just, I mean, obviously this was so when the FBI police talked to Rob, he'd be like, well, I guess the only new person in Wendy's life is this guy named Jeff, and I don't know, but she wanted to keep him a secret from the parents. Just so fucking off.
secret boyfriend from the parents. Were you a secret boyfriend from the parents at that time?
It's implausible. No, I don't think so.
In fact, you'd met the parents several times.
Yeah, and had conversations with them, limited conversations, but conversations. And the other part that's, I think, really significant is the kids talked about me constantly. I have all kinds of text messages and emails where Wendy's mentioning the kids are down in South Florida talking about me.
Judge, at this time, I'd ask to move into evidence case 141.
Any objection?
Can I see that, please?
Hold on, I don't remember exactly off the top of my head what this is.
No objection.
Case 141 is admitted at this time.
Okay, I want to draw your attention next to a disagreement that occurred with Wendy Adelson on June 29th of 2014. Do you recall that incident?
I do.
Okay. And at that time, did you confront Wendy about some suspicions you had that she was seeing other men?
Yeah, that was part of it. That was the main part of the disagreement. I also had spent the last 2 or 3 months concerned that she seemed to be stringing me along.
Where did the fight occur?
The fight occurred in Gainesville.
Okay, and I say fight, it was a verbal disagreement.
Verbal disagreement, and argument's not even the right.
Okay, this is where I just assume everybody that's here has a pretty in-depth knowledge of all this stuff. I mean, there's just so much on this case, and there have been so many iterations of the same thing. But this is just about the fight in Gainesville, where he's like, I know you've been, you know, fucking Daniel Sack, and they got into this big fight over that. Okay. So here is the part where she says why the one way she would be able to get out of Tallahassee.
About the future relationship, and I'm asking, are you going to be here? Because with the constant complaining about how hard it was on her parents to transport the kids and just the constant complaining, I was just thinking, is she even going to be here? Is it worth trying to push forward in a relationship? And she said the only way that I'd ever relocate is if something would have to happen to Danny.
Subject to the same ruling at sidebar. The objection is overruled pending the other matters that do have to be addressed. You may continue, Ms. Kappelman.
Please repeat your answer.
Yeah, the only way she'd ever be able to relocate is if something happened to Danny, was the first statement.
Okay, and did she mention anything further about something happening to Danny?
Can I give the context before the next?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was getting a little tired of this whole drama around the relocation. And so I pushed back on Wendy a little bit and said, like, you're going to have to kind of make your peace with this. You're going to have to take some responsibility for this. You're linked to Dan Markell for life. Kind of challenged her a little bit. And she said, well, can I tell you something confidentially? And I said, sure. And she said, last summer,
repeat the same objection or same court's ruling?
Same ruling remains. The objection is overruled. You may continue with your answer.
She
Can
said,
I tell you something in confidence?
yeah, can I tell you something? After I challenge her, can I tell you something in confidence? Sure. Well, last summer, my brother looked into all options possible to take care of the Denny Markell problem, including hiring a hitman, and it would cost about $15,000.
Okay, and when she referred to her brother, she's got two of those, right?
She said Charlie.
Okay. And when she said Charlie looked into hiring a hitman, are you familiar with Charlie's joke? I looked into hiring a hitman, but got you a TV as a divorce present because it was cheaper.
Yeah, Wendy had told me that joke a couple of times. This was not that joke.
Okay, so this was something different.
Yeah, the joke was said with levity. It's a dark joke, but this I found chilling. I found disturbing. It made my stomach flip. It kind of took me aback. She was dead serious when she said this. And she'd asked to tell me in confidence, which you don't do before you tell a joke.
Okay. So I want to take you to the next day then. So we're at July 14th, the Monday before the murder.
Yes.
Did you see Wendy Adelson on that date?
Yes, we had contact throughout the day trying to arrange some kind of date. It kind of ebbed and flowed. But she was real enthusiastic about seeing me at one point, and then like mid-afternoon, let's just meet at yoga is what was decided. So we went to yoga.
Okay, what happened after yoga?
Well, I was wondering why we were at yoga because Wendy was being very strange. I felt like the relationship was over. She wasn't feeling well. I'm not a big yoga guy, so I didn't understand why we were at yoga for like 80 minutes, stretching. But then when we left yoga, we barely spoke, and I was just getting a vibe that this is over. Tried to talk about the relationship, didn't go very well. It was pretty clear to me. My internal thoughts were like, well, this is over. And she didn't want to spend time with me the rest of the week, so I just put my hands up like this. I remember this vividly, and just turned around and walked away.
Where were you when that was happening?
We're in the parking lot of Journey's Yoga over by Winn-Dixie.
Okay, so you have your two respective vehicles there and
Yes.
you're parting ways.
Yes.
Okay, what happens as you walk away?
I get about 10, 15 feet away from her, and she calls after me. I turn around, and she had a series of detailed questions about what I would be doing on Friday. I had a trip to Tennessee planned, and she wanted to know if I was going on that trip, and she wanted to know what route I would be taking. And if I didn't go on the trip, why wouldn't I go on the trip? And I answered the questions as best I could, but I was confused why, at that moment, she wanted to know the details of what I was doing on Friday when she expressly didn't want to spend time with me on Friday.
Okay, and we now know that Dan Markell was murdered on Friday.
Yes.
Right? If you had taken the trip as planned, which is as you reported to Wendy that day, what would your route have been?
I would have left my house at about 11 a.m., which Wendy knew. I'd related my plan to her earlier in the relationship. Needed to get to Atlanta for dinner and was worried about traffic and stuff like that. So I would have left at 11, and I would have driven down. I would have got to Capitol Circle in Thomasville, which is close enough to Danny's house that it kind of gave me the creeps. It was kind of weird. Yeah.
Okay, so physically you're saying you might have been sort of consistent with how the killers fled town.
Yeah.
Okay, and after this yoga date and the discussion of your travel plans, did you get an email from Wendy?
I did.
I'm going to publish what's been introduced into evidence as states 64 GG.
Okay, so this is just the email. I just want to really quick, before we get to, I think, one of the most scandalous parts from Jeff. Okay, so I just want to really quickly address something. So, who says this? YouTuber replier, excuse me. You said she wasn't there with the boys. Dan had the boys that day. It has been debunked. Now, when I first saw the Charlie trial and the whole stipulation and, them listing out the schedule for the boys, I thought the same thing. Okay. But I don't believe that is true, and I'm going to show you why. All right, so, and I'm going to play this. I think it's 30. All right. And I can just explain it better, just how I already have. All right. All right.
but there was something else he said that made my blood run cold.
Back up a little bit further. You said they gave him $5,000. Tell us about that. What did he say? Where did he get the money from?
Oh, he said he got the money from the lady. He still hasn't told me her name yet. He said, I got the money from the lady. Well, his wife gave him the money. So Katie gave him the money. But he told me about the lady. He told me, yo, the lady got the money. She gonna pay us. So, you know, all this driving around and talking to him about the money, I told him, we should just go rob her. That was my intention. Fuck this guy. I don't got nothing against that guy. I don't even know that guy. Especially after he told me about what was it for the 2 kids. So because I asked him, why you gonna kill the guy? Because the lady wants her 2 kids back. She want full custody of them kids. Because he had all the custody. That was the plan. That was the deal. That's what I went to go kill that man for.
And how did Tuda know all this?
Katie, I guess Katie told him everything. Ain't nobody questioning us. Ain't nobody gonna question me. Ain't nobody even. I think that they didn't even know I was going on the ride unless the only one that knew was Katie. She knew I was in that car.
How did she know that?
Because he told her. He told her I'm going with Tato. They call me Tato. So I think I'm going with Tato. So I said, I asked him who knows. He goes, no, it's just Katie. I said, that lady knows I'm in a car. He's like, nobody knows, just Katie. But in my instance, I didn't trust him that day. I'm like, somebody else gotta know. Because if you told Katie, Katie had to tell that lady. Because, that day that they murdered, when I seen Wendy, that's when I asked him, who's that lady? And he said, it's Wendy. I remember I clear as day with them 2 boys. Because we got there at 10 o'clock at night, 10 to 11 o'clock at night, went to the hotel, we're hanging out, we're just chilling. I said, man, I'm going to go to sleep, I got to get rest, because if you're going to have me watch this guy all day tomorrow, I got to get rest. So I try to fall asleep. He was still awake doing coke. I went to sleep. The next day, it was Thursday. The next day we drove around there. I ran around the block. I went around the block to the other part behind his house. He said, pull in here real quick, let me go see if he's home. So we pulled in. He walked over there, he looked, came back, he like, go around the house. He said he seen something, but he wasn't too sure if it's somebody. So when I go around the front of the house, that I come back like this. So I'm driving this way. Wendy's walking this way with the 2 kids. So I'm driving. Before I get to the bump, I'm looking to my rearview mirror and I ask Garcia, man, what's up with this lady? Why is she looking so much? He's like, oh, that's that lady. That's Wendy. And they go, oh, that's her name. I said, so I'm like, okay, I seen the 2 kids. I said, what's she doing up here? What is she doing up here? Oh no, she can't just make sure that everything's alright because he's leaving out of town tomorrow. So it's gotta get done tomorrow morning before he leaves. Like, alright, we leave. We go back to the hotel.
Let me interrupt you for a minute. Was there ever a phone call from anyone around the time that you saw who he described to be?
When she walked, as I'm looking at the rear mirror, I seen her walk a little bit further from her house, get on the phone. By the time we get to the hotel, he's talking to Katie. That's when he asked Katie, what's she doing up here? But I asked him in the car before Katie called, what is she doing up here? She came up here to see if everything's all right with the kids. I said, man, you gotta know something besides that shit. What this lady's doing up here? And she knows that we're up here. She knows you're up here. So what's she doing up here? So when he calls Katie. Hey, what's going on? I seen this lady up here. Oh no, she's making sure that everything is fine there before what time he's leaving tomorrow on the flight or where the fuck he was going. I said, so we gotta do this tomorrow, huh? He's like, yeah, because he's leaving, and she came to see the kids. But I seen her face and everything. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, we're going back to the hotel. I'm sitting down. I'm sitting down on the chair in the hotel, and he's like, you all right? Nah, I'm just curious what the fuck this lady's doing up here. Yeah, don't worry about that shit. Everything good, man. She just made sure that everything was alright. I said, I don't really like the sound of this shit, but whatever. If you say everything alright, I trust you because I just trust you. I trust you because you're my dog. Yeah, don't worry about it, man. Here, man, take a drink. And that was early in the morning. It was 12. Like, man, I'm good. I don't want to fucking drink.
So this all happened before 12 noon?
Yeah, before 12.
On Thursday?
On Thursday.
You drove by, you saw her walking the kids. You asked him, he says that's Wendy. She's making sure that we're going to do this or whatever.
That she wanted to make sure that we was up there. She thought that we were lying, that he was lying. Because she don't even know I'm in the car until she seen me that day.
Yeah, but your car's got tinted windows. Does she even know what kind of car you guys are in?
That car, it's not even tinted. Like, you can see through it. It's like, you can see real, you can see it. It's tinted, but not dark like people think.
Right, but she wouldn't know you from Adam's house. She wouldn't know you from anybody.
Yeah, she don't know me from anybody. Because you can see, you got the little short guy in the car like this, the little driver like this, and you see Garcia. Garcia's on the passenger side. You know, so she looked and then he looked. Like, you know, that's what caught my attention. Like, what's up with this lady looking at the car? She didn't know she wanted to make sure that we was up here. I guess Katie had told him everything. And then he called Katie. I remember leaving that day when we left. He called Katie. Yeah, everything all right with this lady? She's like, yeah, everything's straight. Don't worry about it. Just make sure you get that shit done.
You hear that? Yeah. He tells you that?
No, I can hear talking on the phone.
You're in the car or in the motel room?
No, I'm in the car. We're still in the car. We got pulled up. Every time before we go in the hotel, we're sitting in the car for like 10 minutes. We don't go, we just not going, because I'm sitting down like, yo, you see that camera right there? You know, it's facing that way. You see that one over there? Yeah, man, how you see all these shit? I said, because look at that camera over there, man. I tell them, yo, you gotta start drinking, man, before you can pay attention.
So you hear her voice saying that he recognizes her without question. He doesn't have to ask.
He didn't even have to call and ask none of this shit. He already knew.
He's already saying, why is Wendy here?
Yeah. No, I asked him why she's up here.
And then he relates to her on the phone.
Yeah, he relates to her why she came up here for.
Okay.
That's the conversation.
So it's not a question of if it's Wendy. He already knows it's Wendy.
Oh, he already knows it's Wendy.
And he's telling Katie, why is Wendy here?
To make sure that he was up here, make sure he wasn't lying, that she was just paying him for nothing but.
So Tudo's met Wendy?
Yeah, I think he did. Matter of fact, I ain't even gonna answer that right there, because I'm not 100%
okay.
Did you know Wendy?
No, not at all.
You ever seen her before?
Just that day. That day I seen her, that Thursday. I'm not gonna say I never met her, never seen her. I don't know if he met her or he knows, but I know he said that's Wendy. I'm like,
okay. I know. And Katie says she wants to make sure that you guys are.
We make sure that we're up there.
And you heard her voice say that.
And obviously, I'm never going to say that I'm 100% right about anything. This is clearly, my opinion, my takeaway from this stuff. But I thought the exact same thing. I thought when I watched Charlie's trial, oh, Luis was mistaken. He was wrong. But just hear me out. Just give this a chance to play through because it surprised me.
Yes, sir.
You woke up on Thursday, July 17th. What happened that day?
Woke up, took a ride to my girl's house. It's that Thursday morning. And we went around the house. So we went around the house, we came back around, and we seen a lady walking through.
Mm-hmm. Where was the lady?
She was towards my right-hand side, towards his house.
Towards whose house? Towards Markel's house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, was she in the street, on the sidewalk, or something else? Okay. Did she have children with her?
Yes, ma'am, two.
All right, what happened when you saw this lady? Did she see you?
Yeah, she looked dead at the car. I was driving, and as I looked in my rear mirror, I seen her looking.
Mm-hmm.
So
what happened next?
I asked Garcia, what's up with this lady? What's she looking at the car? That's that lady with the kids, man.
So you asked Garcia, hey, who's this lady that's looking at the car?
Yes, ma'am.
And he said that's the lady with the kids.
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you take that to mean?
That's the lady that wanted the kids.
The lady that wanted you to do this job?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And were you worried about seeing her there?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you worried about her seeing you there?
Of course.
Were you concerned? Did you ever ask Garcia, who knows that I'm involved in this job with you?
I can't remember.
Can't remember that?
No.
Okay. What did you do once you see this lady and Garcia tells you that's the lady that wants this job done?
We drove off. We left.
Okay. Did Garcia make a phone call about seeing the lady?
I'm looking to the rear mirror, and I seen her making a phone call. I seen her get on the phone.
The lady that you saw on the sidewalk?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then y'all drove off?
We drove off.
Okay. And did Mr. Garcia, after seeing that and driving off, did he make any phone calls?
After we done bent like the corner, he got on the phone.
All right. And who did he get on the phone with?
I believe he got on the phone with Katie.
How do you know it was Katie he got on the phone with?
Because she The way he was talking, it's only her. He only talks to her.
All right, and what do you mean the way he was talking? How are you able to tell?
Like when he spoke to her, she like y'all get out of there. The lady just seen y'all.
All right, and so y'all were worried about this lady having seen you.
Oh, I was worried.
You were?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you able, you said that you believed Garcia called Katie. Could you actually hear her, or you could only hear his end of the conversation?
I'm hearing his end of the conversation right now.
All right, and tell us about his end of the conversation. What did you hear?
He's like, we just gotta go. Like, let's get out of here.
Okay. Did you learn anything about Mr. Markel planning to leave town?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
We gotta get the job done because he was supposed to leave that Friday morning.
How did you know that?
Garcia told me.
And how did he know that?
Katie told him.
And when Katie told him that, was that something that happened while you were present, or something that he already knew before y'all arrived there?
No, I was present. I was in the car.
All right, I want to back you up and ask you about a few things that happened the second trip. You've talked about seeing the lady or seeing who you believe was Wendy Adelson. Can you tell the jury about that?
Well, it was the day before.
Day before the killing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, tell us about that.
I was scoping the house, and I was scoping the house and leaving. She was walking the sidewalk with 2 kids.
And that was on the road where Markel lived?
Yes, ma'am.
All
A couple of houses down from his house.
Okay. And were you driving at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
What did the lady do when you saw her?
She looked at the car and got on the phone right away. Made a phone call.
Okay. And how did you know that the lady, or why did you think that the lady was Wendy Adelson?
Because I asked Garcia, why is she looking at the car like that? Yeah, that's her. That's the lady.
Okay. So you believe that to be Wendy Adelson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So Rivera claims to have seen Wendy the day before the murder near Dan's house. And very shortly after he sees her, Sigfredo Garcia confirms with Katie that Wendy just saw them. They also learn from Katie that Wendy was just there to check to see if the job had been done yet, and provided them with a new piece of information, which was that Dan was leaving the following day on a trip, and the job had to be done by Friday, the 18th, which they would have had no other way of finding out had it not been through Katie via Wendy. Now, there's a few parts that I want to touch on. The first being why Wendy may have been so paranoid that the job wasn't going to be actually done. We, of course, know that there were 2 trips by Rivera and Garcia up to Tallahassee, the first one in June being a failed attempt. But what is also highlighted in the TPD investigative reports is that there was a potential other failed attempt by hitmen who...
I'm going to speed this up a little bit because I just kind of went over this, so I'm going to put this at 1.5. And also, I'm a fast talker normally, so I was really trying to be level and slow when I was doing my narrations, but I'm going to speed this
were
up a
hired
little
prior to Garcia and Rivera. And in that instance, not only was Denny not killed, the hitmen never even went to do the job. I received a message via email on January 3rd, 2019, referencing an inmate, Nicholas Atteridge. I returned the call to Angela Frink, an attorney who is acquainted with Atteridge. Ms. Fink stated that Atteridge wanted to provide a statement regarding his conversation with fellow inmate Sigfredo Garcia while they were housed together in the L pod of the Leon County Jail. It should be noted that I attempted to interview Atteridge previously. During my interview with another inmate, Jason McNair, on December 20th, 2016, McNair had referred to a second inmate that had conversations with Garcia while in L pod. McNair said the second inmate was Nick and thought his last name was similar to Aldridge. I conducted a search of inmates and found Atteridge was possibly the person that McNair was referring to. On January 25th, 2017, Sergeant Pat Sanford and I went to LCJ to contact Atteridge in the D-Pod conference room. I reminded Atteridge that I'd previously attempted to interview him the last week of December 2016. He acknowledged the visit and said he had not slept for several days because his cases were pending plea agreements at that time, and he thought my inquiry was about other criminal activity that he was part of previously or while in custody at LCJ. He went on to say that he had just left a visit with his attorney before coming to the conference room to see us, and had signed a sentencing agreement for his charges wherein he would eventually be transferred to a state prison. Atteridge expressed his willingness to provide information on his interaction with Sigfredo Garcia while they were in L-Pod at LCJ. After some conversation regarding his time spent in L-Pod and interaction with Garcia, it was apparent Atteridge was familiar with participants and events in the murder conspiracy. Atteridge agreed to have his statement audio recorded. And guys, I tried to get this audio, but they're not releasing it yet. During the interview, I reminded Atteridge, since his sentence had been determined prior to our interview, that there would be no consideration for his testimony, to which he agreed. In summary, Atteridge had two significant conversations with Garcia regarding the murder. The first was when Garcia learned co-defendant Luis Rivera had accepted a plea in exchange for testimony. After getting drunk on homemade alcohol, Atteridge referred to as toilet wine, Garcia began complaining to inmates by saying Rivera had waited to motorcycles and cash. Atteridge went on to say he understood from Garcia that McBanawa brought the murder plot to Garcia, telling him her ex-boyfriend's mother wanted the murder to happen and paid for it to be completed. After the conclusion of the initial recorded interview, Atteridge stated that he wanted to add some information. I activated the audio recorder again, and he provided the additional information, which concerned Garcia, stating his money would stop being sent to LCJ since McBanawa was arrested herself. The money was for the murder payment, according to Garcia, via Atteridge. He stated that the information he provided was directly from Garcia, and he understood that he may be called to testify in court. A copy of the audio recordings will be submitted to the SAO, and this case remains open active. On December 13, 2016, I was notified that the State Attorney's Office, SAO, had received a letter from Jason McNair, an inmate at the Leon County Jail. The letter was addressed to the Queen herself, Ms. Georgia Kappelman, the best assistant state attorney ever in the history of ever, prosecuting the Markel homicide. McNair stated in the letter that he had a lot of information on Garcia and McBanawa, who were co-defendants in the Markel murder. McNair stated in the letter that he would be willing to provide the information. LCJ records indicate McNair was in the same housing pod, L, as Garcia from September 12th of 2016 to October 10th of that same year. I went to LCJ on December 20th, 2016 to conduct an interview with McNair, who is now housed in Pod J. McNair was summoned to a conference room for the J pod, where he and I conversed in a closed room. McNair provided some of his background and stated that he was in the L pod with Garcia in September and October of 2016. He was asked to describe the setting and stated that there were usually 96 inmates in the pod, with 2 inmates assigned to each individual cell. Aside from lockdown at night, or when inmates were transferred in and out of the pod, the inmates were allowed access to the other cells and the common areas of the pod. On an unknown date, sometime after McBanawa's arrest, which was October 1st, 2016, Garcia began talking to McNair and the other inmates about the murder and how he became involved in carrying out the crime. Garcia said he was offered the task by his ex-girlfriend and the mother of his children. McNair and Garcia referred to the woman by her last name that McNair knows starts with an M. McNair does not know why Garcia did this when telling this account, as McNair knows the woman's first name is Katie. Garcia told him that another woman named Don asked Katie about having someone killed for money. McNair and Garcia also referred to this woman as Donna Adelson, who is a mother-in-law or a grandmother that wanted the man killed to get custody of 2 children. Garcia also said Don had paid other people $50,000 up front to commit the murder, but they did not do so. This time, Don told Katie that she would pay $5,000 up front for expenses and then $100,000 when it was done. Why would they kill Dan if you gave them all the money up front? They have the money and then they're not going to get a murder charge on top of it. How dumb can you be, Donna? As this information became pertinent to the case, I asked McNair if he would agree to have the conversation audio recorded. He agreed to the recording, and I activated a digital recorder for the remainder of the interview. In addition to the above information, McNair provided the following information, which was audio recorded. Rivera was enlisted to drive a car for the murder and was paid part of the $100,000. Rivera did not know that the trip was for a murder initially, and there were 2 trips made to commit the murder, the first being a blank trip. He also knew that the murder occurred at a house in a garage. Garcia said that he was the actual shooter, but he did not say how many times he fired. The gun was purchased for $150 in Miami. Katie either bought it herself or provided the money to purchase the gun. Upon returning to Miami, Katie obtained the money from the Adelsons, with Garcia getting $45,000, Rivera getting $35,000, and Katie $20,000 to $25,000. Garcia bought a motorcycle and 2 cars with his share of the money. McNair claims that this is independent information that he received directly from Garcia, and he is willing to testify in court. McNair did not ask for any consideration prior to providing his statement, and nothing was promised or suggested before or after the interview. This audio recording has also been provided to the SAO, and this case remains open active. 2 inmates confirmed that Garcia discussed the involvement of the Adelsons in this murder-for-hire plot. Jason McNair divulged even more information, saying that there was a failed attempt prior to Rivera and Garcia being hired, where Donna prepaid 2 hitmen who decided to not even attempt the hit, which should absolutely be no surprise to anyone with half of a brain, because why would you risk going to prison for life when you already have the money in your pocket? Really, I would have not been shocked if Donna had called the cops to report that the hitman stole 50 grand from her without completing the promised service. I've already filed a Better Business Bureau complaint, but I'd also like to report a crime. Let's also remember that this is the same woman that more than likely was the one behind trying to wash her prints and DNA off of their blood money. So, based on that, it would kind of make sense as to why Wendy would be worried about this job getting done, which would be a corroborating piece of evidence backing up Rivera's claims of seeing her the day before the murder. I think another piece of supporting evidence that Rivera and Garcia saw Wendy the morning before the murder is their learning of Dan leaving town the following day. How else would they have gotten that information?
Was there a reason that the murder had to get done on the day it did?
It was just the right thing, the right opportunity, I guess.
Okay, did you have any information that the victim was going to be leaving town the day after the homicide occurred?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, meeting.
Is the answer struck?
Yes, it was not struck.
All right, so how did you find out that the victim was leaving town the following day?
I can't remember that good.
Was it from a blog?
Objection, Your Honor. Meeting.
It's not leading, Your Honor. Was it from a blog?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what blog was that?
The blog was Wendy.
No, I was saying from the computer. Did you research it on the computer? Okay, so somebody gave you the information.
Yeah, somebody else.
A person.
A person.
And how did you actually talk to the person?
No, ma'am.
Who talked to the person?
Tuto. Garcia.
Garcia talked to the person.
Talked to Katie.
Okay, so Garcia got the information from Katie.
Yes, ma'am.
And do we know where Katie got it from?
I don't know.
Okay, were you present when Garcia talked to Katie and found out we got to do it today?
Yes, ma'am. He was on the phone.
I'm sorry?
They was on the phone speaking.
He was talking to Katie on the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were present for that?
I was in the car.
Luis testified to the fact that he saw Wendy the day before the murder in all 3 trials. However, during Charlie Adelson's trial, Dan Rashbaum did his very best to try to alter the timeline and confuse the jury.
During the second trip, the day before the murder, you drove by Professor Markel's house. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And you testified that at some point after you arrived at Markel's house, after noon on the 17th, you saw a woman and 2 kids walking on Trescott by the house,
yes,
right?
Sir.
And the woman looked at you as the Prius passed and immediately got on her phone.
Yes, sir.
You testified that you asked Sigfredo what was up with the lady. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And Sigfredo responded that that's her. That's the guy's wife. That's the one that wants the kids back.
Yes, sir.
You asked Sigfredo what the lady was doing there on Trescott with the kids.
Yes, sir.
And Sigfredo responded that she came there to make sure that everything was all right.
Absolutely.
Meaning all right with the plan.
Yes, sir.
As you sit here now, you're aware that the woman and the kids on the street was not the same lady, right?
I don't know if that was her or not, but she looked at my car.
It's possible that Sigfredo lied to you, right?
Who knows?
First off, look at his smug little face right here.
Was not the same lady, right?
He really thinks he did something there. Too bad that's not at all what he said, like, ever.
It was early in the morning. It was 12. I mean, I'm good. I don't want to fucking drink.
So this all happened before 12 noon?
Yeah, before 12.
On Thursday?
On Thursday.
You drove by, you saw her walking the kids. You asked him, he says that's Wendy.
Rivera never said this occurred in the afternoon. He stated that this occurred first thing in the morning. A statement that is backed up by the fact that they arrived to Danny's house every morning before he even left to take the boys to preschool. As Wendy testified to in my last video in this series, the kids would normally be dropped off between 8 and 9 a.m., and the daycare was about 15 minutes drive from Dan's house. The school drop-off pickup schedule was stipulated too in Charlie's trial, a piece of information that was also included in the report that I received from the Tallahassee Police Department.
Are you now aware that there was a first attempt on your ex-husband's life on June 4th and June 4th, 5th of 2014?
Yes.
When you lived with Professor Markel on Trescott, was your address publicly listed?
I believe so.
So much dead air with Rashbaum. So much dead air, guys.
Markel children?
Very well.
Do you need a copy, Your Honor?
I have it right here. I'm just bringing up instruction 2.3. Members of the jury, when the parties agree that certain facts are true, that is called a stipulation of fact, you must accept stipulated facts as having been proven. However, the significance of these facts, as with all facts, is for you to decide. In this case, the stipulated facts that you must accept are true are: the Markel children were enrolled at Creative Preschool located in Tallahassee. During the week of July 14th, 2024, their drop-off pickup schedule was as follows. Monday, July 14th, 2024, dropped off at 8:55 a.m. by Dan Markel, picked up at 5 p.m. by Dan Markel. Tuesday, July 15th, 2014, dropped off at 8:25 a.m. by Dan Markel, picked up at 4:50 p.m. by Dan Markel. Wednesday, July 16th, 2014, dropped off at 9 a.m. by Dan Markel, picked up at 4:30 p.m. by Wendy Adelson. Thursday, July 17th, 2014, dropped off at 8:30 a.m. by Wendy Adelson, picked up at 4:45 p.m. by Dan Markel. Friday, July 18th, 2014, dropped off at 8:50 a.m. by Dan Markel.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I want to first focus your attention on the July 17, 2014 schedule. On July 17, 2014, as Your Honor just recited, you recall dropping the kids off at school at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes.
And Professor Markel picked them up at 4:45 p.m. on that day, thereabouts.
Which I just heard, but I wouldn't have known what time.
You didn't pick them up that day.
No, it wasn't my day.
So it would be impossible, the person would be wrong if they said that they saw you and the kids by Professor Markel's house in the afternoon or morning of July 17, 2014, correct?
It would be some other woman and some other kids.
Now, here's where this becomes super misleading, and even Rashbaum messes up here, so follow me very closely. I'll admit, when I first heard this portion of the trial, I pretty much marked off Rivera's sighting as a case of mistaken identity. To me, it sounded like the judge was backing up Dan Rashbaum and saying that it would have been impossible for Wendy to have been on Trescott when Rivera claimed to have seen her. Except, this is not what he says at all.
Members of the jury, when the parties agree that certain facts are true, that is called a stipulation of fact, you must accept stipulated facts as having been proven. However, the significance of these facts, as with all facts, is for you to decide.
The stipulated fact is that the kids were dropped off and picked up from school at the time stated by the judge. The significance of that fact is up to the jury and us to decide. Basically, those drop-off and pickup times are not being debated, but the relevance they have to the case and the movements and whereabouts of Wendy Adelson are still very much up for discussion. Now, let's go back to the question that Dan asks immediately after the stipulation was read, and pay very close attention to his speech pattern.
So it would be impossible, the person would be wrong if they said that they saw you and the kids by Professor Markel's house in the afternoon or morning of July 17, 2014, correct?
It would be some other woman and some other kids.
Now, Rashi's normal speech pattern is very staccato and somewhat broken up normally, but the pause after impossible and after morning are both unusually long. And if we notice, he corrects himself after he says the word impossible. And I don't think he meant to say morning either. The other words he takes a moment after, and they're only 1 second pauses. The pause after impossible is 2.5 seconds long, and the pause after morning is 3 seconds long, very clearly showing that he misspoke on both of those points. Because it is not impossible for Wendy to have been by Danny's house with the children the day before the murder. And even with the drop-off schedule being set in stone, that has nothing to do with anything, as I believe this incident happened prior to their drop-off. Think about it. Danny was dropping the kids off at daycare between 8 and 9 every morning. And as we have already learned, the daycare was a 13-minute drive from his house. So for Garcia and Rivera to even be able to facilitate a proper surveillance of Danny, they would have to get a pretty early morning start. We can assume that for the boys to get dropped off at 8:30 a.m., Danny would have had to leave his house not too much later than 8 a.m. But we actually don't even have to assume this, because Luis tells us himself.
Yeah, well, I got the room with the drugs. We had powder, we had beer, but we had a bottle. We had a bottle in the pocket, we was drinking. We had powder, we was chilling all night. I probably went to sleep at around 3. I woke up around 7 that morning. I think it was 7 o'clock the next morning. We got there by that time. We slept for a little bit. Check out was at 11. We leave. Went by Markel's house. Went around him. Went straight to his house. I parked by the park like I showed you. I parked there for a little bit to see who's gonna come out. When he came, I seen the car. I don't want to scope the car. I'm like, yo, that's that guy right there. I see a white male in the car. He's like, yeah, that's him. Let's follow him. So we followed him all the way to school. He got the kid off. Boom. I lost him. I guess he was going to the gym in that morning, but.
How do you know what kind of car he's driving?
Because Sigfredo told me the car.
Sigfredo told you the car?
He said he got a black Nissan.
Okay.
No tints. You will see him. Because I heard he showed me the picture.
Here he was talking about the first day of the June trip. However, it makes sense that they would keep their surveillance schedule pretty much unchanged to avoid missing Dan leaving in the morning. Meaning, they would have likely seen Wendy well before 8 a.m., giving her more than enough time to make it to preschool by the confirmed 8:30 drop-off time on Thursday morning. Jeffrey Lacasse also said something interesting in his interview that, to me, confirms the notion of her taking walks on Trescott.
She sent this document. It was like she compiled every email, like between Danny and Wendy, for like a year and a half. And the idea was to make this legal case that Danny is harassing her and stalking her. She always goes to this. She told me Danny was a stalker because he looked out the window one time and saw her walking down the street without the kids, and he goes, "Where are my kids?" I right of first refusal. If you don't have the kids, I should have the kids. Wendy claimed that was stalking because he said it. So anyway.
And to me, this doesn't seem like he would have seen her at the university, because one could assume that they would both be working at that time, and he would neither have the capacity to watch the kids nor the expectation that she would be watching them while she's working. So it really only makes sense that she would have been walking down Trescott Drive in front of his house on the weekend or some other time where they were both off. So I fully believe that Luis saw exactly who he thought he saw the morning before the murder. And I fully believe that Wendy got right on the phone with Charlie saying they've got to get this done by tomorrow before he leaves. Information that he then relayed to Katie, who in turn passed it on to Sigfredo. And based off that prior failed attempt, or lack of attempt, I think that would make Wendy feel like she had to keep a better eye on these two hitmen.
Mr. Rivera, the defense characterized a lot of things that Garcia told you as lies. Do you know that those things were lies?
No.
So when he said, "Oh, that's the lady, she's looking at us," do you know if he really thought it was the lady or not?
No, it was the lady.
He thought it was the lady, right?
It was the lady.
Okay.
It was her.
All right. And
I really can't get over how petrified Charlie looks the entire time Rivera.
Okay, so obviously that's just a theory. That's just my take on it. And Sorry that I was like, that's, it's like 5 minutes long, and it was really like an hour long. Sorry that I have no concept of time. But this is only 3 minutes, and this is one of my favorite creations ever. So we're just going to watch this really quickly, and then we'll actually get back to the recap. I'm so sorry for this huge diversion.
Is on the stand. And my absolute favorite part of Luis Rivera's testimony is when he stares at Charlie during an entire sidebar, and Charlie just sits there like prey on the Serengeti.
Are you on the prof's blog server list?
No.
Can you just come sidebar for 1 moment?
I would. Okay.
Daddy Rashbaum and the rest of the pack wander away, leaving little Charlie all alone at the defense table. Pale and vulnerable, Charlie is not well suited for this level of abandonment. He nervously looks around, his eyes darting across the barren courtroom, attempting to assess any imminent danger. His best chance is to remain still and quiet and pray that he is not spotted by a fiercer predator. You can sense his unease as the anguish of being separated from his pack begin to take hold. If he can just hold out until Daddy Rashbaum re-emerges, he will remain safe and secure. Across the room, from the witness box, a savage hunter locks onto his target. With very little movement, the Latin King patiently contemplates his ambush. Charlie is left helpless in this moment, and the Latin King knows it. His eyes remain focused, unblinking, and relentlessly trained on his victim. Tension grows with each passing second, making Charlie's odds of escape more and more unlikely. The Latin King's gaze is broken with the re-emergence of Charlie's pack. The adults of the group reconvene around tiny Charlie, completely unaware of the danger he just faced. As the elders of the group return to their mundane social activities, one can tell that baby Charlie remains shaken by his near-perilous experience. As he tries to calm himself, one can assume that he will be forever changed by what is sure to be a close brush with death that he certainly won't want to experience again.
And I'll leave you all with a riddle. What does Aladdin become after he marries Princess Jasmine? Give up?
Latin Kings. In fact, you were the head of the North Miami branch of the Latin Kings, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to the recap. But obviously, like, if you have a different takeaway on that whole situation, like, that's fine. But that's kind of what I saw from it. And to be perfectly honest, I thought 100% that Luis was wrong until I really started to analyze. And I know I'm like a super overanalyzer too. So that's just that's what I got out of it. I thought there was, I think it's a possibility that Wendy was actually there. And none of her call detail records from Thursday have been shown in anything. They're all gone, completely gone. So whatever. I would love to hear your take, YouTube replier, if that changed your mind or not. It's fine if it didn't. I don't care. Not that I don't care about you, but it's like I won't be mad at you. Okay. So this part, to me, I felt like this was the most jaw-dropping moment of Jeff's testimony right here.
We're rich, and that's what I looked like when we were dating.
Okay. We have an evidence 86A.
Any objection? No, Your Honor. 86A is admitted at this time.
May I publish?
You may.
All right, so I've blurred the boys' faces, but this is how the residents at Aqua Ridge appeared.
Yes.
And the kids' art that's shown on the wall here, was that present during the time that you were dating Wendy Adelson?
Yes.
Was it something that like art would come down and other art would go up, or was it pretty fixed?
It was, maybe some art would get added, but I never saw any come down until July 14th.
Right.
13th, sorry, July 13th.
July 13th, you noticed that the art had been taken down?
We walked into the kitchen, and then Wendy was pulling art off the wall. The only time I'd ever seen her do that.
Okay.
Oh, and also, Steph Doyle, thank you so much for the super sticker. That is so, so sweet of you. This to me was the most mind-blowing part of Jeff's whole thing. That on the 13th of July, literally 5 days before Dan is killed, Wendy is ripping these pictures off of the wall, ripping the boys' artwork off the wall. Never before had moved. She's packing up. She's packing stuff up. And especially after what Rob said about Donna being up in Tallahassee for like a few months, moving money all around, like sneakily getting Wendy moved out of the house. Like this was planned. Wendy knew. There's no doubt about it. And I mean, I've never really had doubt about it. I've thought this freaking witch was guilty from day one. Okay, so this just goes a little bit into the setup. And I believe this is where she shows the two cars side by side, which was
Plans at
insane.
the last minute.
All right, and you provided law enforcement with some receipts and things to prove that you were in Tennessee at the time?
All that, and I got a flat tire, so I ended up getting videotaped at a Kmart. And I know the TPD used that to exclude me with the timestamp on the surveillance footage.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Georgia looked absolutely ravishing today. I love her and Sarah together.
At some point, did you learn
Dynamic
that the killers
duo.
came to Tallahassee in June, not just in July?
Yes, when arrests were made and the documents were released, I learned that, yes.
And did you put together some facts about your travel plans that day that could have potentially made you a suspect on that trip as well if the murder had happened as
Yeah,
planned?
that Friday, I was scheduled to go to a business trip in Gainesville, leaving at 11 a.m. So 2 times in 2014, I leave town on a trip by myself in my car, and both times hitmen are in town trying to kill Danny Markell, once successfully, obviously.
Are you familiar with the type of vehicle that was originally rented by the killers in June to make that June trip?
I am.
And was that significant to you?
Yeah, I mean, this is long after this all happened. I'm learning this from court proceedings in 2016. But when I heard they rented a gray Altima initially, I had a 2004 Nissan Sentra. That freaked me out because that's about as close as you were going to get to my car on the rental market.
I'm going to show you what I marked as State's Demonstrative Exhibit G. You recognize this exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is this the make and model of the, it's not the actual rental car, but the make and model of the rental car compared to the make and model of your vehicle?
Yeah, my car's right on top. That looks just like the car I had at the time.
Permission to publish G, Your Honor?
You bet.
This is insane to me. My God.
One more minute to confer, please.
The same exact car. And thank you guys. Okay, so that's pretty much, I'm not even gonna show the cross because it was so stupid. They had absolutely nothing to say. They're like, so isn't it true though that you liked Wendy Adelson, and isn't it true that you didn't hear Donna specifically say that she was gonna killed Dan Markell? When they asked Claritza if she had ever heard Donna talk about killing Dan in the dental office, like, guys, really, you had this whole time when they're up there testifying, you can't come up with any better questions than that. I have never seen a less prepared defense. Okay, here we go. Where's June? No one knows. This is when they called June. And this is when June graces us with her presence. 15 minutes later. I loved in Charlie's trial when Everett says, "Did you have a nice tour of the courthouse?" Or was it Katie McManaman's retrial? I think it was. I don't remember. But oh my God, it was so funny. And she looks stunning. Stunning. Absolutely beautiful.
Please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
You may take your seat.
She's so
Please speak
nervous.
loudly and clearly so you can hear. You may examine.
Hi, what is your name?
Okay.
Hi, my name's June. I'm
So-
Shinda.
Will you spell that, please?
This is the
No.
first clip.
During that portion of your relationship, what did you know, if anything, about the murder of Dan Markel?
I had no idea who Dan Markel was. I've never seen the case in the media. I just know that when I asked Charlie about his family, he advised me that his brother-in-law was murdered and shot in the head in the garage, and they don't know who did it. So that's all I knew. It was pretty short.
Is that a topic that came up one time or more than one time?
It was one time when I asked him about his family in the beginning when we were dating, getting to know each other. And then obviously throughout our relationship, it became a bigger topic.
Okay, but during the fairy tale phase, was it a topic that would come up regularly, like what's going on with the investigation and wonder who did it, that sort of thing?
So the fairy tale phase, that was before the investigation, before they suspected him or his family. So no, it did not come up, just that one time.
That's insane to me that they're just like, oh, this is just really no big deal that any of this stuff happens. Okay, and here's when she starts getting a little wishy-washy on her thing. And I want to play, I have a couple of spots that I want to play out of her police interview also. This is also where the trial stream cut out for a minute as well. So it's going to cut for a few seconds and
once
then
you
Or I'm sorry, Lewis.
come back. Oh, here we go.
Things from the media about this case, was there something that stood out to you about how the hitmen said they were paid?
I did read the affidavit and everything, which said Lewis, or somebody mentioned they were paid in staples, like bundles of cash with staples.
And why
in it.
did that stand out to you?
Because I noticed that Charlie stapled his money, or he had money that was stapled.
Okay, so you had seen that in his residence before?
Right after I read that, so after I
you-
found out that the money was stapled.
After you found out the money was stapled, you saw the stapled money?
Or no, sorry, let me think. I can't remember the exact moment, but I know when I saw the money, a red flag came up, and I was like, after the fact that I saw it, I was thinking, oh, I think Lewis said he got paid in some stapled cash, and I mentioned to Charlie that he should just put a paper clip in it. Instead, we talked about the staples, so.
Okay, but you had seen, before learning that the hitmen were paid in stapled money, had you not seen stapled money in Charlie Adelson's residence?
Before the hitmen were paid?
Yeah.
I didn't know Charlie back then, when the hitmen were paid.
I'm sorry. Yes, before you learned that the hitmen were paid in stapled money, which you learned from the media, you had seen stapled money in Charlie Adelson's residence.
It was after, because when I saw it, I was thinking to myself, that's strange, the staples, and then it clicked. So it was after I saw.
After you saw the article or the TV broadcast, you then observed it.
After I found out.
And that's when
yes.
it clicked.
Yes.
Okay. And the stapled money that you saw was $100 bills stapled into $1,000 bundles. Is that right?
Yes.
And there was quite a few of them that you saw, right?
Right.
And her testimony from the police interview is completely different on that. So this is the last part that I want to play from her testimony, and then I want to hop over to her police interview really quickly.
Taking painkillers for stress during that time frame?
Yes.
And was there a time when you were on the balcony of Donna Adelson's residence and she made a statement to you about Dan Markel?
We were speaking about Dan because the case was such a big thing at that time, yes.
Okay, and what was the statement she made?
Well, her life was crumbling down in her family's life, so she said everything felt like Dan was haunting her from the grave, or them, I don't know. Whatever it says there.
She feels like Dan's back from the grave, like haunting her or something.
In reference to that, yes. I don't, yeah.
No further questions?
Cross-examination.
Was he still acting more paranoid and stuff at that point?
Yeah, I mean, for a while, he was, like, very scary to be around. Just, like, angry and, like, different. And that's what I meant also when I said our relationship changed, because he says I was bringing more stress onto him because I don't understand the case and stuff like that. And just very, like, irritable and ticked off at everything. But I mean, I guess you can blame him because his whole life is kind of falling apart and stuff, so.
Yeah, a little bit, I'm sure it was. Did, you know, he talked about Katie. When Katie got arrested, you probably read or saw the shows. I don't know if you saw any of the shows, the TV shows they did on it.
Yeah,
like
I did.
Dateline in 2020, and how they linked Katie
I know.
to the murder
Yeah.
and him. What was his explanation about that? What would he tell you about that?
Okay, so this is what she testified to, but she testified a different way in one of the prior trials. But she does say here that she saw 2020 first and then knew how frequently he was talking to Katie.
He wouldn't give me a full one. He used to say, I don't know, like, would just keep quiet and say, I had nothing to do with it, I'm not involved, and
You
people.
didn't think that was strange? Could you come up with an explanation of why?
Well, I mean, I think I was in denial for a little, like, and the end of the day when I went home, like, it made sense that people would accuse him, and you really think about it, you know, like, people, like my sister and my family and everyone are like, obviously he did it.
But you look at some of the evidence that's out there.
No, I know, and
it's hard to.
I know he doesn't wake up early, and I saw the times they were talking, and it was like 7, 8 a.m. before the 10 a.m. or something. And I know his schedule, and I know him, and I know at nighttime too is when he talks business, which is when the night before they were up like late or something. I don't know. So I kind of thought like, oh, that's kind of odd, and
yeah,
like I know you don't talk to me on the phone all the time, so why are you talking to Katie? Like, what are you talking about? You
Right.
know?
It was definitely something that stood out.
Yeah. What about him and his mom? Did they talk?
They don't ever talk like that late. They talk in the morning a lot, but they don't go back and forth like how he was calling everybody and hanging up and calling back. And
It's pretty odd, isn't it?
cash in there. I don't know exactly.
Yeah. Thousands of dollars, you think?
Yeah.
Stacks of hundreds. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like dollars to him. Like he's,
Did he carry a gun on him too?
yeah.
Pistol?
He has a license, a gun license, or whatever. He's kind of like a partier, if you don't know already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how he's doing now, but
When he was with you, that's kind of, from what you know of him, that's what he would do.
yeah.
He always had a lot of cash.
Yeah, he has a safe in his room, so he has.
Always put a lot of cash in his safe. Kept a lot in the safe, right?
He usually uses cash for everything, so.
Okay.
Yeah. How much cash do you think he has in that safe at any time?
I never physically like saw the whole thing, but there was always stacks of hundreds, like a lot of cash in there. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of dollars, you mean?
Yeah.
Stacks of hundreds, yeah.
Yeah, like it's like dollars to him. Like he's,
To carry a gun on him too?
yeah.
Pistol?
He has a license, a gun's license, or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, your carry license. Yeah.
Yeah, so he usually has one like in his car and then somewhere else and by his bed and stuff. One thing I did I thought was weird was I had one time like he was giving me money to count or something and all his money is like stapled together, the hundreds in
Really?
bundles. And then I was reading like the article and it said the package had the money like all stapled together. So I was always like, who staples money and stuff? Like use a paper clip or something.
Yeah.
So I was just always like, that's weird, but I never said it to him or anything.
Yeah. So you've, I was gonna say, so you've seen his money stapled together too.
Yeah, like it's the same how they described it.
Okay.
I mean, I really don't want to get him in trouble or anything.
Yeah.
'Cause
See, now that's not super clear whether she saw that before or after she read that article or not. Okay, here is the part where she talks about Donna saying that Dan is haunting them from beyond the grave.
I on the balcony and she was just saying that this is all awful and you know crying and saying she said she feels like Dan's back from the grave like haunting them or something.
Okay.
Why would Dan haunt them?
Yeah, I don't know, that did stand out to me and she just said he was so awful to Wendy and telling me all the stories about what they went through, what he did to Wendy, and
Like what she said he did to Wendy?
just about the kids, like talking bad about her, manipulating her, and controlling her.
It is absolutely crazy to me that they are still here after Dan has been murdered, talking shit about him. I don't feel like any normal person would. I mean, and Sarah Yusuf says in her deposition, you know, it was so bizarre because Dan would literally never, you know, bother anybody again. So it was so weird for them to have this much animosity towards him after the fact. Thank you for becoming a member, Worldwide Collaborations. I really appreciate that. I know. I think she was just very, very nervous, Black Eyed Sue. Okay, so let's skip ahead to Ryan. I didn't feel like his testimony was too mind-blowing, but there were just a couple of, I've got two clips on him. The first one, she asks about Katie, if Katie was different or special at
Time
all.
frame that you all were friends.
Probably 2013, 2014 to 2019, 2020. I can't really.
Okay. And during the time y'all were friends, were you like best friends?
We're very close
acquaintances?
friends, yes, ma'am.
Close friends. And based on your knowledge of Charlie Adelson, was he really close with his mother, Donna Adelson?
Yes, ma'am.
And also with his sister, Wendy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How did they feel about Dan Markel, if you know?
I'm going to check. They haven't laid a foundation as to which person. They doesn't describe anything related to my client.
I'll re-ask the question. How did Donna Adelson feel about Dan Markel?
Didn't like Dan.
Okay. And Charlie, did he have a lot of girlfriends?
Yes, ma'am.
And was Catherine McBanawa one of those girlfriends?
Yes, ma'am, she was.
Is that somebody that you ever met or hung out with?
I believe once or twice in passing, but didn't, you know, like I've testified before, didn't pay any attention to Charlie's girlfriends.
Okay, so she didn't stand out to you as anything special among the crowd?
May have looked like the others, but no, didn't stand out to me at all.
It looked like the others, he says. Which, granted, Charlie definitely has a type, for sure. Has anybody ever seen the AA Legal Focus interview? Well, I'm sure you guys have. But she's doing an interview with Ryan, and in the middle of it, somebody starts banging on his door, demanding steroids. It is literally the funniest thing. Okay, and then this is the part where he talks about Charlie saying that, you know, you can get away with stuff.
Approached on the street?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. And did Charlie Adelson talk to you about the bump? His mom being
Yes, ma'am.
approached? Okay, and prior to that, had Charlie Adelson ever mentioned being harassed or extorted or anything like that?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so when this happened with his mother, did his demeanor change? How was he acting about this incident?
Charlie became agitated, nervous, anxiety. I guess looking back now, guilty. Just abnormal.
Okay. Did he ever make a statement to you about murder?
He made the statement at one time that you could get away with anything if you keep your mouth shut. Yeah.
Which unfortunately Charlie could not do.
Implied murder.
All right. After the
Insane. I love when Charlie's talking about potentially having a wiretap while he's having a wiretap in the Dolce Vita tapes. Okay, so now let's go to the financial investigator, which I think a lot of her testimony was the same if you've watched the other trials, but I just wanted to highlight just a few parts in this.
The manager beginning in 2012 to October of 2015. Was Harvey Adelson still employed as a dentist at Adelson Institute?
He was.
And received checks from there?
Yes.
In 2016, in July of 2016, did it change to only Harvey being the listed manager and Charlie being a registered agent?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, throughout all those years, 2012 to 2016, did Donna Adelson have signing authority for the Adelson Institute?
She did.
And what does that mean?
She had the ability to move money without having someone else approve it.
Yeah, so Donna is clearly in charge of the money. That brings us to this next part about her signing. Obviously, she signed all of Katie's checks, most of them that were in sequential order. I mean, this is just insane.
Employed, but they don't make above a certain amount of money.
That's correct.
Did you review checks from Adelson Institute to Catherine McVanois?
I did.
And in what accounts did you find those checks?
They were deposited into Catherine McVanois, sometimes in her checking, but a couple of times they went into her savings.
Okay, and they were coming out of Adelson Institute's business account with Regions?
Yes.
How many total checks were there from Adelson Institute to Catherine McVanois?
There was 44 checks.
What do we see here?
This is a list of the checks that she received from the Adelson Institute.
Okay, so this is a summary of the checks.
It is.
Okay, but in evidence, as we kind of went through earlier.
So probably the biggest takeaway is the fact that some of these checks are literally in sequential number order. So it was very obvious that a chunk of these checks were being written out. Here we have 24, 34, and then we have 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. So obviously these checks are being handed to her in a bundle, and then she's getting to cash them all at once, essentially. Okay. Here we go with the frequency of the checks.
Employed by Adelson Institute?
Yes.
And how often did McVanois receive checks from the Adelson Institute after that?
2 times a month for almost 2 years.
Looking at these checks, can you show us? Can you have a quick I'll just ask you. On the bottom right of each check, where it says Donna Sue Adelson on these checks, is that the signature line?
It is.
Thank you. Checks are kind of becoming an ancient art form, so just in case we have any jurors.
Is that the signature line that says Donna's name on it? So incredibly funny. Okay, so this is when she tells us when the checks stop, and it's at a very odd
date of the last check according to Adelson Institute's QuickBooks records that they handed over to law enforcement when they received the subpoena?
It's at the top, March 31st, 2016.
Okay, so according to their records, the last payment they made to her was on 3/31 of 2016.
That's correct.
When you looked at Catherine Marbanua's account, were there any additional checks after March 31st of 2016 that were paid to her by Adelson Institute?
Yes, there were 3 additional checks that did not show up on the QuickBook records.
Looking at this graph, is this the 3/31/16 check that was dated and posted the same day?
Yes.
And so these would be the 3 checks that were deposited after March 31st?
Yes.
Do these 3 dates reflect the dates on those checks? Written? The
Yes.
dates written. And these would be the dates that Meg Vanwell posted them to her account?
That's correct.
And the date range appears that her working period there were these 3 lines.
That's right.
Okay, so I don't know if they named it Institute for tax purposes, Christine, but I 100% believe that the sale, quote unquote, of the business when it went from being in Harvey's name to in Charlie's, and I looked up on it's under sunbiz .org, I think. I was looking up to look at the, all the LLC information. First of all, Charlie literally has like maybe 20 different LLCs. There are all these businesses which they are pretty much trying to divide money up with. And also another reason why I think that is when I was looking up their address, and mainly the first house that they grew up in, pretty much all the kids grew up in, they at one point had sold the house. There's a sale on there. They sold it basically to themselves for a very, very low price. I don't remember the exact dollar amount, but I mean, it was like $1,000, $100, something like that. And Claritza actually has a couple of remarks about the Adelson Institute and who was owning it at what time. Okay, so here is the other piece of information that I thought was very interesting, and this is in regards to Wendy's house.
Well, first I want to show you a contract that's been shown to defense for the purchase by Wendy Adelson of a home, I won't say the whole address, but on Whittendale Drive in Tallahassee. Okay? And what date did she sign this to purchase this home?
October 24th, 2013.
Okay, so she signed a contract about a week before Halloween of 2013.
Yes.
Okay, and how much was the purchase price of this home?
It's listed as $371,000.
Did Wendy Adelson have the means in her account to pay for a down payment for this home on Whittendale?
Yes.
Would it have been a real financial stretch for her to do that, or was she able to do that comfortably?
She could do that comfortably, for sure.
Did each of these members of the Adelson family, and when I say members, I mean...
So here we are, a week before Halloween, and Wendy had signed the contract for that house that then Charlie talks her out of. And as we know, Halloween is when Charlie asked Katie if she had anybody that could hurt somebody or Dan Markell. Okay, so LP Travels and Other Things. Ryan looked disappointed in the cross. He was ready and hopefully for a challenge. Yes, I have that queued up already because this is one of the funniest parts of the trial for me. And it's so funny because additionally after this, Charlie and Donna are talking about this portion of the trial and saying that, that basically he's, Dan destroyed Ryan on the stand, which is completely incorrect.
Do you recall saying to Charlie Adelson I don't owe you shit. I'll be on the phone with the FBI today. Get your affairs in order before prison, punk. You're gonna rot in jail, you mom, fag. Do you recall saying that?
I mean, if you're reading it, then I did.
You open your mouth and I will open mine. Watch, motherfucker. You're a miserable Jew and you're gonna get what you deserve. Do you recall saying that?
If you're reading it, then I said it.
I dare you to threaten me again. I'll be on the phone with the FBI before you blink, you murderer. Do you remember saying that?
Yep.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you in jail. Do you remember saying that?
I guess if it's in there.
Oh my God, I love it. Dan gets on his cell phone.
You ever heard of a website on Facebook called True Crimes Blog, True Crimes Case, the Dan Markel case? Let's discuss. You ever heard of that?
Yes.
You were just posting pictures of Charlie on that website this week, right?
I don't know.
You want me to show you them?
What difference does it make? What does that have to do with anything?
May I approach, Your Honor?
Oh my God.
Does this refresh your recollection of a picture you posted of Charlie on that website just days ago?
Yeah, it's a good picture.
Yeah, it's a good picture, he says.
You say you have nothing to gain from this case and you don't really care and you don't want to be here, right?
Right.
Just on Tuesday, do you recall writing to someone, I want to propose a wager. Let's see who gets involved. The over and under on Life Plus. Laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. You posted on there that you were going to help get this man a life imprisonment, right?
I don't know that it suggested that I was helping him do anything. I was just speaking my opinion, which that's free speech, and that's what all the other idiots on that thing do as well. So,
I want to propose a wager. Over under on Life Plus. That's what you said.
Yeah.
No further questions.
Georgia and Sarah were cracking up in the background. They're trying to like cover their little smiles. That is so funny. And I always wonder like how many hits did that Facebook group get after this? It had to have blown up. Okay. I absolutely love that part of the trial. He's just so like, yep, that's what I said. Over under Life Plus. That actually kills me. Okay. Yeah, Christina, $1 million to run a hitman, no problem. Down payment for a house, I would never. And I can't believe, you're willing to pay Dan $1 million, but the grandparents, Donna and Harvey, couldn't just buy a fucking house in Tallahassee, like to be closer to the grandkids, spend the weekends there, do whatever. Yeah, he's tweaking. Yeah, I know. Mentor lawyer's just sitting back there. Okay, so let's go to Claricia now, which she has been, I feel like, kind of a hostile witness in the past, but I feel like she was better this time. And Donna's face, she can't even control herself. I probably feel like the only person that controlled themselves less while they're sitting at the defense table was probably Shabusiness after she cut off her poor boyfriend's head, and then she's like laughing about it while she sits at the defense table. Okay, let's hear Claricia. This is setting up who was running the Adelson Institute.
No. Okay, so worked as his personal assistant. Worked as his assistant.
Yes.
And what about Donna Adelson? Did she work there during that time?
Yes.
And what did she do there?
She was the office manager. She worked up front.
Okay. Did she keep the books, do the payroll, that sort of thing?
Yes.
What about Charlie Adelson? What was his role there?
Charlie was our periodontist. He's a dentist.
Dentist, okay. And the 40 years that you worked there, you worked for Harvey Adelson all of those 40 years?
Yes.
Was there also an employee during, and I'm talking about the years 2014 to 2016, in addition to yourself, Dr. Harvey Adelson, Dr. Charlie Adelson, Was there also an employee named Erica Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, and what was her role?
She worked up front and she was Charlie's assistant.
Okay. And we talked about Donna Adelson and her role. What about, did you have a hygienist named Amy?
Yes, we always had a hygienist.
Okay. Were there any other employees that you can think of during that time at the Adelson Institute, other than the ones I just named?
No.
Any other dentists besides Harvey and Charlie?
No.
You mentioned that Charlie is a periodontist. Did he also, in addition to working at the Adelson Institute, did he travel around and do that type of work for other dental offices as well?
Yes.
How often was he in the Adelson Institute office? Ballpark.
Once a month.
So that's completely setting up the fact that there's no, they weren't going in and working for their son. Charlie was in there monthly, Charlie was barely even in the office, but they're trying to say that he was running the thing, which is what Fulford was trying to say in her opening. Okay, and then here is just a little part about Katie.
I know her from the office. She was a patient there.
So okay, was that Wednesday?
It was Wednesday.
And then off on Fridays?
We were off on Friday.
And no work on Saturday or Sunday?
No.
Who had access to the employee records at Adelson Institute?
Dr. Adelson and Donna.
Dr. Adelson meaning Harvey or Charlie or both?
Harvey Adelson.
Was that something that you had access to or would know anything about?
No.
How do you know Catherine Magbanwa?
I know her from the office. She was a patient there.
So she actually came and got dental work done there?
Yes.
Okay. Was she like a regular or just came in once or twice?
Once or twice.
Not even a regular patient, Katie is. Masterful setting that up to just let the jury know that, here she's getting all these checks. She wasn't even working for them. And the funniest thing is, how Jackie Fulford comes out with like her poster board, her demonstrative that she literally made like in the hallway right before court started. And she has on there a picture of Katie right next to a picture of Charlie and an arrow pointing to Katie. And two arrows pointing to Katie. The top one says how much Charlie paid her, which was like $138,000. And the bottom arrow says $3,000 a month. Well, half of that money was coming, or a third of that money was coming straight from Donna. Like, what the hell were they thinking?
18 years old.
All right, so a lot of history there.
Yes, ma'am.
Fair to say that you're on again, off again quite a few times throughout your history together.
Yes, ma'am.
And during one of those off times, is that when you started seeing Charlie Adelson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then toward the end of Charlie Adelson, there's a little bit of overlap with the two men.
Yes, ma'am.
And that sort of is in the middle of the time frame that we're talking about here today, right?
Yes, ma'am.
When did Charlie Adelson first bring this idea up to you that I'm looking for someone to harm my brother-in-law?
This was around October. What stuck out in my head was on Halloween on October 31st.
Okay. And what year was that?
That was 2013.
Okay. And so on Halloween, what is your memory of what y'all were doing that night that you're able to remember that happened that night?
Well, we were out in Lincoln Road. It was like a kind of like a block party in Lincoln Road. And then when we were getting ready to get into our cars, he jumped into my car, and he basically suggested that, do I know anybody that can harm someone?
Okay. And were those the words he used, harm?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
And did you know somebody that could harm someone?
Yes, ma'am. At that time, Sigfredo was the first person that kind of popped in my head.
Okay, I want to approach and show you an exhibit.
Okay, so obviously here we're going back to this Halloween date is the first time that Charlie asks. There's also these texts that Corbett shows later on between Charlie and Donna talking about the fact that Charlie was able to talk Wendy out of buying that house, and Donna was so excited about it. Okay, here's when Katie starts talking about the money.
Charlie and Garcia.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, for the July trip, once the murder was done, did you receive a phone call from Sigfredo Garcia?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And were the two men looking to get their money for the murder?
I don't know what my conversation was with Sigfredo, but I did speak to him on the phone.
But you understood that you needed to get the money, right? And pay
Yes.
them?
Yes, ma'am.
That was part of your job?
Yes, ma'am.
Part of your role in this whole thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you go to Charlie Adelson's house to get the money on the night of the shooting?
Yes, ma'am. He had contacted me and told me that there was an accident and if he can have dinner with me that night.
Okay. And the accident was a reference to the shooting of Dan Markel?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, which was not an accident, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And when you get there, how is Charlie acting?
He was pretty frantic, just pacing back and forth, and he had a gun in his hand.
Okay, was that unusual behavior for him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he say anything about his parents when you arrived at his house that night?
He told me that his parents just left.
Did you end up staying the night there?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Were you planning on spending the night there?
No, ma'am, I was not.
Okay, originally was your plan to get the money and take it to the two men that killed Mr. Markel?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
All right, what happened the next morning?
Well, since that night, since he was like pacing back and forth, and he had given me a Xanax, that's why I fell asleep.
Okay,
And that's why
did he take Xanax as well?
Yes, ma'am, he took one as well.
Okay. And the next morning, did something happen with the money?
Yes, ma'am. So I woke up. I was like, I gotta get out of here, and he told me that the money is in the trunk of my car.
All right. And was the money in the trunk of your car?
I actually did not check it. I just got my keys and left.
So you believed him that it was there?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you got to where you were going, where did you go to deliver the money?
I was trying to contact Sigfredo and had a hard time trying to contact him, and then I eventually ended up in the alleyway of where Luis lived at that time.
At Luis Rivera's residence?
Yes, ma'am.
And did Garcia show up there when you pulled up there?
Yeah, he just kind of jumped in my car. I didn't know where he came from.
All right. And was he able to get the money?
Yes, I told him that his money was in the trunk of the car.
And he was able to remove it, and you observed him removing it, and the money was there?
Yes, ma'am. He went to the back, grabbed it, and then that's time he left.
How did you get your cut of the money?
I don't know if it was later on that night that he came back to my apartment, or the following day, and then he put it in the closet.
How was your cut of the money packaged?
It wasn't like a cut. It was just basically it was in a bag, in a plastic bag, grocery bag, and I believe there was like a paper bag and then a Ziploc bag inside it.
All right. So the inner thing was a Ziploc bag?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you opened the Ziploc bag, did you notice that the money was stapled together?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
It was, okay. Did you notice something else unusual about the money?
At that moment, I didn't when I opened it, but a couple of days after the fact, it was wet and starting to mold.
The money itself was damp to the touch?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And did you ever mention that fact to Charlie Adelson?
I'm pretty sure I contacted him and told him why is the money wet.
What do you mean pretty sure? You did or you didn't?
That I didn't.
Okay. And when you contacted him and said the money's wet, or you just mentioned to him the money's wet, did he have a response?
Yes, ma'am. He told me
Go
told
ahead.
me that his mom washed the money.
That you physically washed the money?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Unreal. What do you think the jurors are doing hearing this? Do you think they're just sitting there shitting their pants and just being like, what the hell? Do you think they're going home and writing in their journal, dear journal, this murderer lady actually washed the money that she gave to the hitman? What is she trying to wash off? Fingerprints? DNA? Like, it's just absolutely beyond belief. Okay, so I have a tiny little bean here that I need to go ahead and lay down, but I'm going to go ahead and put on my Donna song to lead us out. I really appreciate everybody coming in tonight. I hope that we had a nice little replay. It's a little late, but I will see everybody bright and early in the morning. I will play the Donna song, and that will be the end of the stream for tonight. Okay, guys? So see you in the morning. I am excited to see what tomorrow brings. Somebody said in my live this morning that Charlie, oh, it's okay, Tracy in Vegas, that Charlie might be on tomorrow, which I'll give my thoughts really quick on Charlie. I think his pulling the I think him pulling the waiver out from under Donna literally the day her trial was supposed to start, I think that was completely out of spite. I think that was him getting back to her for the bullshit that she did with going to Vietnam and not telling anybody. So I don't think this is going to go well for Donna if Charlie actually decides to get on and testify. I think he is going to fucking decimate her because I think he is pissed. He is pissed at Wendy. He is now pissed at Donna and Harvey. And literally, there's a jail phone call, and I think this is like a couple hours after she gets caught talking about we're going to flee to Vietnam, whatever. And Charlie's like, oh, I really appreciate you guys talking to me. Like, it makes me feel so much better talking to you. And Donna's like, oh, yeah, no, you don't have to thank me. You don't have to thank me. That's just what I heard, Sherry D. I don't know that for sure. That's just what somebody in the chat said. But she says, you don't have to thank me. He's like, no, I do. I really appreciate it. She goes, fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's literally what she says. And that's actually, I have that, that's in this video, from the penthouse to the big house. If you want to go ahead and watch that, that is in there. But I will go ahead and leave you with the Donna song, a nice bop for the end of the night. Love you guys.
Donna got arrested, then says she got molested. Donna was extorted, but she didn't report it. Donna got arrested, then says she got molested. Donna was extorted, but she didn't report it. Her back hurts, where's her sleep number bed? She's not suicidal, but if she gets out, she might be dead. Living in jail is no Four Seasons. She needs to get out, has lots of reasons. Ear canal so small she cannot hear. Living in solitary, but living in fear. Gets twisted behind her back. They said she's a murderer and that's why they attack. From a penthouse in Miami to shackles in the court, lack of sleep is sure to cut her life short. Where's her band-aid? She's gushing blood. Waiting 8 hours will surely cause a flood. Where's Charlie? Where's Rashi? Where's Harvey? Where's Wendy? Needs to get to Vietnam, doesn't care if it's Spain. Living in jail, it's no Four Seasons, but she needs to get out, has lots of reasons. Breathing is labored, is it so loud? Lawyers can't hear her, inmates point her out in a crowd. Like a miracle when on the stand, her ailments disappear like they're just on demand. Tries so hard to cry but can't squeeze out one tear. Living in solitary but living in fear. She's gotta get out of jail, it's no Four Seasons. Please let her out, she's got lots of reasons. Her forearms tingle, her back is tight. Can't sleep on this mattress, it's just not right. Nothing in the world that money can't buy. Wish I could order some tears so they'd see me cry. Sarah and Georgia put Charlie away. No, they're coming for me, but in jail I can't stay. I fled to Nam cause there's no extradition, but I can't stay in jail because there's no nutrition. Why, oh why doesn't anyone care? I gained so much weight and I can't do my hair. Living in jail, there's no Four Seasons. Gotta get out, I have lots of reasons, just let me go home. Harvey's already here. Got a bottle of pills, let's just go to sleep, dear. Living in jail is no longer fun. I've got to get out, believe me, I'm done.